Welcome back to the night shift where we answer the tough questions like how do you stop an unstoppable McGinnis barrage? Well, Jake, a wizard from the chat said I just got to be within 7 meters, aka tickling distance of a McGinnis ult.
I mean, the neat part about canceling the McGinnis ult is you don't. You just die. At least the way it looked in that last match. I do think it's true. You can get right on top of her and kill her, but the way they played, I mean, they create a nice zone of control around McGinnis where it's not so easy to execute that against the top teams. I think people have to maybe respect this pick a little bit more after that game. I can't help but think melee creeps are maybe not going to let it through as easily, or at least have better tools to respond to it in their draft, because it kind of just crushed game one.
ZP, we saw a few people so disappointed that they're not going to see the BWC Melee Creeps rematch because BWC was able to beat Melee Creeps on another stream earlier in the week. For me, I'm kind of more excited for Goober to get a chance to take on John and the Melee Creeps, right? Do you think there's a bit of a rivalry brewing between these guys? Is Floormen really that far behind them?
I don't think they're super far behind, but also if in terms of rivalry, I like the revenge story here that DMB used to be with Melee Creeps, was with them for a huge part of their run, and they decided to make the roster change to bring in Do, who super mechanically good, and kind of rework how they do their drafts, especially because you're more in the realm of doing one WM1 right now instead of two, and they kind of want John in the M1 role. Now DMB is with Floormen and gets the opportunity for revenge. And look, technically, I think if you look at it historically, DMB still may be the winningest player in NA North America history because he was part of a bunch of the old Hydra Nation teams and was part of Melee Creeps for a massive portion of their streak.
All right, it's time to jump into our grand finals by introducing your teams. The challenger tonight, Floormen. You just saw them mop up their opponents. They took care of the Yamato. They McGinnis all over the place. And now you're going to see AVG, Goober, Rocker, League, Chickpea, DMB, and not Xeno taking on the Melee Creeps. Jake, who from this screen is the scariest? I know you're just joining us, but you've seen the Floormen in the past. Are you giving it to League, who just won MVP, Rocker, who people would leave their teams for in the past, or Goober, who seems to be one of the most confident 18-year-olds on the planet?
I mean, I think all these players are top-tier Deadlock players, but I think ZP is absolutely right. The player I'm watching today is DMB. I mean, this is a grudge match. DMB won before being on the Melee Creeps. He was a huge part of their success for months and months. When they kicked him, they felt like they could do better, and that's a pretty big gut punch as a player to be on a crazy winning streak and to get kicked. It's like, wow, like there's not, it doesn't feel good. And so this is DMB's moment to get some revenge here. If he comes back in and delivers a win, it wouldn't get sweeter than that. So definitely eyes on the M1 carry battle. John has been the standard bearer for that role in North America for quite some time, but now it's DMB's turn to really get that fair fight. Melee Creeps, undoubtedly the favorites given their history, but like you said, like in this last week, took some L's, maybe showed some weakness. It wasn't on our show, so they're still the champions here. But there's definitely some questions, I think, in people's mind, and honestly, maybe no one more than DMB.
Now it's time to introduce the reigning Night Shift champions. They've been dominant in North America. John, Saya, Scout, Fishcake, Ido, and Do, the new addition, as Jake mentioned. I want to start here with Saya and work our way to the right. ZP, what is the strength of each one of these six?
I mean, for Saya is not only the best support player in North America, he very well may be the best overall player in North America, period. I don't know when his signature hero got set. Yeah, I don't know when his signature hero got set to Calico. It was probably a very long time ago, but we got to swap that to Kelvin on the fly because he has been the Kelvin player. He was getting Kelvin banned as a target ban even when no one else was actually banning Kelvin. So shout out to Saya for that. And also, I mean, you move along the list of John, kind of the M1 player of North America. Consistency in the role, which has been a really, really big reason for Melee Creep success because honestly, seeing John get picked off, it's a little bit rare. And when you're the person that is getting most farmed on the team, you kind of need that level of consistency to bring your team home.
We've got Scout saying that Paradox is their favorite. We've got Fishcake on the Abrams, Ido on the Mina. Will we actually see Mina from the Melee Creeps? It was a go-to for all of EU, Jake.
Yeah, very possible. I think Ido really loves to be playing a lot of these flashy spirit carries where he can utilize his skill on the movement tech in Deadlock to really get a leg up on the competition. That being said, I think this team is just, it's across the board, right? They have so many different threats, so many strong players. Every role you could argue they're competing for best in class. I especially like watching Scout when he's on characters like the Bebop or the Holiday, when he just gets like super active in the early game, tempo is out of control. He finds a lot of early advantages that the team is amazing at continuing to snowball and develop those into game wins. So a lot of excitement, I think, for the melee creeps. And honestly, they've had their first tastes of defeat in quite some time in this last week. So my interest is to see how do they rebound from that, right? You've had a huge patch as well. Everything's in flux. Are you able to right the ship for this tournament weekend to check out this tournament that was played last week, the Freak Fest tournament?
Yep.
And Hydra Nation won it all 2-0 over Bird with Clock. Hydra Nation.
Now, Floormen, they were the only team to take a game off of Hydra Nation, right? On the other side, Bird with Clock beat Melee Creeps, and they did it with a Mo and Krill. Do you think the Creeps have learned from that beatdown, ZP?
Yes, they're banning Mo and Krill. If nothing, they may very well lose today, but if they lose, they're not going to lose to Mo and Krill. They're either going to put themselves in a position to pick it, or they're going to ban it. We're not going to see Ido just, wrapped in Mo's warm embrace for 5 consecutive minutes across 2 different games. It's not going to happen. Mo and Krill is going to get banned. Given the fact that Melee Creeps is second pick here, fully expect them to come in with Mo and Krill ban. Otherwise, Floormen would first pick it.
Floormen. What are you banning out first? Mo and Krill themselves. All right.
Just don't
think that was necessary, was it?
I mean, maybe you didn't want to take it true first, and maybe you thought Melee Creeps would grab it in the top 2. I still think characters like Billy and Silver are worth considering, although Silver dropped quite a bit down in the priority last game. I think that's an underrated. Melee Creeps going to ban out the Viscous. So a lot of respect being given to Goober on an extreme comfort hero that has...
I want to be that good at a single character to where people just are auto-banning it no matter how meta or not the character is.
That is respect. I think this I play a ton of Viscous. That's my, my one trick. And Floormen rip it in again with the first pick McGinnis. They say this hero is busted. We don't care about the most recent tweak patch. It's not enough. This hero just still dominated. Hard to argue with League. What, he was 12-0 and 12, 14-0 and 14, something disturbing last game.
Ivy's locked in, and I want you guys to be serious for the first half of this draft. So go ahead, ZP. Give me the objective pick. What do you pair with an Ivy for your first 2?
You go Billy. You look at the last game, you go, hey, McGinnis was able to do all this crap because you had a Billy frontline. You take Billy away right now. Yeah, this is the proper response, which makes the McGinnis pick a little bit weaker by comparison. Yes, Floormen will probably come back and get Abrams as one of the return picks here, but getting Billy, I think, is important, is a key difference in this draft versus the one that we just saw.
It was smart to turn to Paradox for help.
They go for the Paradox, though. Valuing it higher early, pretty interesting choice, considering I don't think anyone else has valued Paradox at this level of pick priority. I agree with you, ZP. They're going to be maybe hurting when it comes to the front line. I feel like they need to grab at least something for the front line in this third pick, lest we go to the ban phase. But they go for the Venator, so they're ignoring the front line completely. I mean, this has turned the meta of Deadlock drafting of always, 4 frontliners in the first 4 picks. It's gone right now. I mean, only one of the first 5 is any kind of...
Kelvin's still on the board.
An empire without sacrifice.
Kelvin hasn't lost tonight.
Actually, yeah, I wouldn't hate the Kelvin here for Floormen. I think it could fit. Like lock somebody in with the McGinnis. Even the Venator, I think, is really, really good fighting in those domes. Question is it going to be as comfortable for them? Are they as experienced playing around the valley? We saw in EU, though, how effective it can be. And honestly, I kind of like the shut up bucket. I could totally see it.
Yeah, interesting here from Melee Creeps. They could have decided to ban the support. Instead, they don't go for it. I think it also speaks very much so to how good Ivy is right now that Melee Creeps decide, yep, we're going to pick this hero even over the Kelvin. But also, part of the reason why they weren't even banning Mo before is that they valued Ivy so incredibly highly. Like, they saw Ivy as the #1 hero. Even if they've adjusted it a little bit, it's interesting. Also, I think the other interesting thing is that they were valuing Mirage higher than Wraith. And they've changed that calculus a little bit when Ven was unavailable. And they got back up with Yamato, so okay.
They lost. It's done.
I'm a Yamato hater.
Yamato sucks. 1-8.
I am kind of a hater.
It's the new age page.
I think this character is like too reliant on burst kills, and ultimately there's nothing to stop you being kited out in your ulti. I guess you have the Billy ult to maybe grab people and pull them in, but I think people have gotten so good at movement in Deadlock that Yamato's ability to chase just feels not as effective as maybe it did in previous patches. More than a game balancing, I think it's honestly just people have gotten better at the game. I feel Yamato has gotten worse.
Shiv Silver, what is the magic 6-piece here, ZP, for the Floormen?
Well, I'm taking a look here, and realistically, you probably want something on the support spectrum, given the fact that it is not a support McGinnis that's being played. So I'm looking at things like a Rem, I'm looking at things like a Page for Floormen. For melee creeps, okay, they're going to come in with the Sinclair. This is actually interesting because I think in theory, copying Barrage is a really good copy for Sinclair. On top of the fact that you also get, reasonable, you can copy swap. I'm not the biggest fan of necessarily copying Vandal or Silver Ult, but, finishing up with Mina for late game power makes sense to me.
Yeah, likely to be an Ido Mina. I think this is going to be a comfortable one for him. And they play, compared to EU, where typically they're just using Mina as a hard carry and like playing a faster tempo game. Mina as the secondary carry behind Wraith here gives you a lot of late game scaling. However, I think you're a little squishy in this draft overall for the melee creeps. I feel like there's this, I'm a little bit worried about the threat of just being run over. It's going to be a lot up to Billy and Sinclair on the playmaking to prevent that from happening. And also for Yamato to be enough of a threat where you feel you can't just, turbo int.
Jake, which team would have more eggs if Fiki eggs were available to all 12 players?
I feel like Sinclair would just be an egg hoarder. I feel like Sinclair would just have a whole clutch of eggs. He's kind of weird like that. He's like a puppet man or something. I feel like he's an egg user. That's for sure.
There's definitely eggs in his house.
Can we talk about the timing of egg being added to the game, though? Like the fact that egg gets added to the game, it's like less than a month before Easter. Like this feels like the long, guys, Easter is less than a month away. Let's add an egg item into the game. We will be seasonally relevant, as it were. But Page coming in last for Floormen, it was kind of what I was expecting in terms of rounding things out, getting support, and I'll be honest, as I look between the two teams, this is a much more interesting draft than the last game because while there's a lot of power that Floormen have, I mean, particularly McGinnis looked great, you have Vendor, the front line of Shiv Silver, I think, is a lot more suspect to creating space for the McGinnis, and melee creeps, I think having the Billy Ivy is really important. You had Billy and Ivy both for Floormen last time around, and you're not going to have the combo of being able to, go chain gang, into stone form, into a barrage in the back. So the level of tempo in these fights and the space that's being controlled, I think is going to be vastly different and probably a bit more in the favor of melee creeps, especially early on.
Apparently, according to chat, there was a difference in philosophy between DMB and his former squad, the Melee Creeps. DMB is now in the mix for the Floormen. Chat, are we on Team DMB tonight? Or MLC, the reigning night shift champions? Production, do we have it just to showcase how dominant these cat suits have been? If you look at our last 15 episodes, I feel like they've been in the grand final at least 14 times. ZP, how good is this squad?
I mean, really, you take a look at the history they've had. I mean, Melee Creeps has been
number 12,
number one team in NA, by far. And is it going to change tonight? We'll see. I think you can make the argument that them losing this weekend was really just a new patch specific phenomenon. Floormen, they're a really good team, but for Melee Creeps, you do not win this many night shifts in a row unless you have put together really the all-stars of North America.
Jake, I just counted on my fingers. I got to 17 wins in a row. That's 18, 19, 20 finals appearances in a row. 20 weeks of grand finals appearances. What do you chalk that up to after watching this team for so long?
It goes beyond the fact that, just for starters, right, you have probably near best in class players from North America on every role for the Melee Creeps, but they've also built a team that is more than the sum of its parts, right? They have incredible team chemistry. The coordination is very good. When you the eye test, when you watch them play, one of the things I think they're so insanely good at is in that dance of a key objective, pushing forward, looking for a pick, falling back when you're on cooldown, and you're kind of cycling back and forth. I think they're the best team in NA, at least, at that kind of dance, which often leads to them winning crucial team fights around objectives. So their ability to stay cohesive as a unit, even in the chaos of inherent to Deadlock, I think kind of sets them apart. The question in my mind, though, is can Floormen match that? They've had a lot of time to study and learn and adapt and grow. And when you throw a little bit of chaos in with a new patch, it's the perfect moment to try to unseat a previous champion. On top of that, I think DMB is actually a fantastic player. Like, playing this guy in ranked, he has like great understanding of the game, great communication, and I wonder if he might not be a valuable addition to Floormen. Like, yes, there's other strong players around, but for the Floormen, you got to look at DMB's record, right? Like we said, he might be the most winning player of all time, even after being cut from the melee creeps, right? He had tons of success in every era of Deadlock, and I just feel that this won't be the last we see of him near the top here of the NAC.
Hydra Nation, if you're out there watching this stream, we see you playing. Quit dodging. We'll see you next Wednesday. In the meantime, your grand final should be ready to rock. Melee Creeps taking on the Floormen. This is your North American showdown. Make some noise, chat. By noise, I mean donations. Exclamation donation in the chat. Contribute to the prize pool. On the mic, it's Jake with the wonderful ZP from the great state of Minnesota.
Yeah, he's not wrong as far as the states go. But this is going to be interesting, Jake, because I feel like we saw the hypothetical max power of a McGinnis in the previous matchup. But when you don't secure things like the Billy and the Ivy that go along with it, it does make me wonder how effective it's going to be. To me, it's kind of one of those things of this hero is good. Like, we've seen the hero be good, clearly. But is it first pick level good when you are the ultimate first pick and not even like the double first pick? That part I'm not convinced on.
Yeah, I also really like the Sinclair as a response to it, because McGinnis, I mean, more or less is being picked as an ult bot, right? Like, yeah, you have some other nice utility that is meaningful and helps, control fights and win lanes. But Sinclair snatching that ult away on a significantly reduced cooldown could be terrifying, right? I think you really need to punish Sinclair when he comes in to steal the ulti away, or he's going to outvalue you with it. He's going to get that off way more often. It's going to be Scout this time, piloting the Sinclair, and honestly, a lot of great ultimates for him to seal this game.
Also, it's going to be a little bit of a different Ido-Mina game. For those who have been following the Mina changes, Mina, you can make the argument, is stronger in the late game now. But her snowball game is not the way it used to be, where, her early game is weaker. She has to wait to actually level up abilities to get her true power and certain things. So, Mina is less of an early game terror and more of this hero gets ahead, look out sort of hero now, almost a quasi carry. Like, if you were to break down Melee Creeps, the two carries of the team, it's John on the Wraith, but also Ido on the Mina at the same time.
Side lanes, I think, going to be especially important. I like the Silver Shiv lane. A lot of damage coming out here. Before the Yamato ulti is up, I feel like there's going to be a power spike around 3,000 souls, where it could actually be a little bit scary. Threatened to burst her down. For now, though, AVG has been taking a ton of pressure. Saya doing a fantastic job putting on that early game damage, keeping Shiv honest. And Yamato, too, one of the better lane bullies. So this one could actually be scarier than I'm giving it credit for.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Shiv is, people probably were overreacting a little bit to the changes, because as we talked about, the knives for Shiv pretty strong. Whoa, the early burst here on the Saya, although Saya turning it a little bit. That got down and dirty real quick. But also, speaking of getting down, AVG, 8 HP gone. The dive in from Do gonna send AVG directly back to spawn.
And maybe more, like even Silver taking yet more pressure. At least it's gonna be a free camp for Yamato. No way you can challenge this with just a sliver of HP on the Silver.
On one hand, Rocker low HP there. On the other hand, Yamato was dangerously close to dying to a slam fire if it was up. Like, that was less of an HP threshold than you might expect. As wait, this isn't EU.
I was about to say, that looks like a DC to me, man. I'm like, I don't know what he's doing, but it doesn't look like a good internet connection.
For my next trick, I will audience participation the wall.
Which should have like a prop hunt skill where you turn into a prop. That would go crazy.
AVG's like, we heard he was walking into the wall. Tornado maybe hit him. Tornado might have got. Where is Scout right now? Is US actually getting tornadoes in March?
Oh, man.
Yeah, tornadoes are messing up the Midwest right now.
Wait, really?
Yeah. I'm out here.
I don't know why this is like acting as news to me. I don't know why this is news to me. I'm just thinking here, March 11th, just, I don't know. It did strike me as like, okay, get into the basement of tornadoes here.
So question, if Melee Creeps lose the 6th, do we actually call Xeno, who's been on all the graphics?
I mean, they'll have to play with the sub, I guess, if they lose him. But we've already started the series, which is pretty brutal if Scout is down for the count. Hopefully not. We'll give him a couple minutes to see how this one goes, see if they can get back in contact with him.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting one. I'm just thinking from a comp ops end. It is close enough, and there isn't a big enough advantage that arguably, like, this is in remake territory, barring...
Yeah, I think your opponent would be like, we're down to remake.
This is a plausible remake, but I think they should have to keep the draft for sure.
Oh, yeah, you don't change the draft. Like, the draft is set in stone. Like, someone else is going to have to play Sinclair, even if Scout can. But this is...
Yeah, this would be brutal. And I mean, even if you do just get a ringer, it already still sucks, right? It's like the synergy and experience you built up as a whole team now is going to be a little more chaotic. Whoever you come in with, like, yeah, they might be good at the game, but they're not just going to have the experience, especially as we talked about. A Scout's crucial in the early game, right? His ability to roam and kind of come to the right team fight at the right moment. Key tempo. I hope he's not flying. That would not be good.
Flying?
He got
okay, there's a difference between like a tornado. You have a tornado in my area versus the tornado has direct struck my house. At Grok, do I get internet while flying through the air at 300 miles per hour?
Wi-Fi. Yeah, we getting rocked by some bad weather. Gonna get Scout back in here. In the meantime, did you guys know
his IP in chat? Oh my god.
Okay, you got scammed. That's everyone's local IP. That's,
okay.
That is your IP potentially.
Got him.
I was like,
thank you, way too drippy Frank, for the Prime. A reminder: if you have Amazon Prime and use Prime Delivery, you also have a Prime sub over on Twitch.tv. Use it here on Deadlock Night Shift. Help us feed the observers. They work for free until we feed them, and eventually give them a check like 9 or 10 weeks later.
Wait,
Jake, as the CFO, we're killing it though, right? The community's helping us like stay in the positive numbers.
We're doing good, man. The community's hooking us up. Hopefully we got big things brewing for the future. I have to see if we can bring it together. But look, I mean, the growth in Deadlock scene has been massive, right? Anyone can see all the viewership, all the excitement around the game, and hopefully we're able to continue to plus up the show alongside that.
And we're going to add
also, if we could get
substitutes.
If we get a Scout or a view on Scout one more time here, production had the comment Wallmen.
Wallman?
We need, yeah, because Scout's hugging the wall. We get the view back on the Scout to appreciate the wall man.
Gotta find him.
There's Scout.
Chat was saying he was throwing it back, but then I was reading other stuff from the chat, and you guys got on my case, YouTube. I apologize for that comment about the drifter. I did not mean it. Here is a look at this beautiful Sinclair nose, though. Where are his eyes?
You know,
he's like
as part of becoming a bit of a ghost.
Is he the only character without eyeballs?
He has like the most scuffed, unfinished model. You could argue it's like lore because he's a puppet, but this one, we're doing him dirty here on the observing feed. We're getting it way too close.
That's a great drawing for a 7-year-old.
But yeah, I haven't heard an update from Melee Creeps yet, but if Scout is in an area that's getting rocked by tornadoes right now and his power went out, as someone that is a bit of an expert in Midwest weather, as in getting pummeled by Midwest weather, I'm going to be real. They're probably going to have to get a sub. Like,
it ain't coming back, baby. You're done for. He's taking out power lines, because that's how my house would always go down. And be like,
we are likely in a remake with a sub territory. I think with power out, that's gotta be. It's got to be the move forward.
Okay.
Who do you think should fill in? Jake, are you better than ZP?
I mean, yes, but I'm not good enough to play in this.
Well, Jake doesn't even hesitate just because his Eternus rank is high. That's unbelievable. But no, it's true.
It's true. He's been
so I'm gonna tell the players this is probably remake territory.
Thank you, admin ZP. Guys, what, like, you're so impressed when I hop in the chat with 2 words while someone else is casting. ZP is adminning while doing play-by-play. Only, like, OG esport goats can do that shit. People today can't even, like, have a chat GPT fill out a double elimination bracket, Jake. It's insane. But the Z-Pizzle guy, whew.
You become an incredible typist by playing online multiplayer games and talking shit to your opponents while playing. Yes. You know, there's no better tool to become a fast typist than typing flame in between actions in a MOBA game.
Back in my day, you used to just hump bodies. Then came Overwatch, and Jake and friends get loose on the fingers.
Wait, Puckett, that voice you just did, you sounded like Shiv. Like, that was actually like, wait a second.
I could hear it. I could see a little Shiv cosplay.
Yeah. Can you say in a gravelly voice, the Baxter Society has your number?
Not tonight. I heard the Baxter Society tried to steal Celeste's horn, though.
I think that is true.
Like, I'm not a very good player, so I'm starting to, like, pick up the lore, and that's a wild conspiracy. Go ahead, Jake.
So you needed a monster. That's my favorite Shiv line. You know, he's kind of the wild man. I'm honestly, what do you guys think about this Shiv like rework here? I'm kind of a fan. It kind of fits his theme better. He's like the knife man bleeding you out versus like the unkillable tanky demon. That was, I think, a little bit too much.
Also, Shiv makes more sense of like you got to hit it and quit it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, I don't think it necessarily is the item you'd want to build a lot of the time. I mean, you make the argument for slice and dice, but you go greater expansion with the new alt range, and you actually fly across the map. It is a 24-meter leap on Killing Blow, which is actually really, really funny as far as things to do.
Greater expansion Shiv coming to you soon.
But here's what we're gonna do. I'm making the executive decision. We are going to go to a break. We will be back once a sub is here or the power has been restored for Scout. It is likely going to be Zerbzy coming in from melee creeps. So Tornado's take down Scout. Who knows what'll happen now?
What if we draft someone from the chat, but they have to be a subscriber? All right, think about it, chat. We'll let the admin ZP be in charge of the show and not me, the host. I'll see you guys on the other side of the break. Love you. Guess what? Mirage is gone and Scout is back. We're ready to party round 2. Let's get the Sinclair back on the map. Melee creeps, Floormen. Act like what you saw earlier didn't happen. This is game 1 and a best of 3 on the mic. It's ZP with Jake. Back to you, Zeeps.
So just to let everyone know, this is the deal we made with Melee Creeps. We told them they could sub in Zerbzy for Scout, or if they play with Scout and he DCs again, it will be a forfeit, or they'll have to play 5v6 basically, because he's in a storm-prone area. You get one. If he DCs again, knowing that it's a stormy area, it is entirely on Melee Creeps at this point. So you now know the stakes.
But Jake, this is the smart thing to do, right? You want your starting lineup, even if you have to risk a forfeit.
I think it's a tough call, but honestly, I think I would do the same thing. It's like you never really know with these environmental factors, but if your player's ready to play, I just like wouldn't want to, unless it was like they're giga lagging or something. Like if it seems okay, the power's back, I'd just risk it. You might end up losing the game for it. Like this could end up being painful, but this is the reality of a live competition. You know, someday we'll have big fancy lands, but you know, for now, this is esports, baby. You gotta work with the circumstances you're dealt.
All right, so we'll see if the lanes end up being a little bit different this time around. Of course, first blood happened against Floormen last time around. Just a quick Saya engage onto the left-hand side. Maybe a little bit more caution from AVG this time around.
Trades happening in the side lane. Paige McGinnis, sort of an unconventional lane, but one that maybe could be deceptively strong. I'm thinking about that. The wall kind of presenting problems as a attempted steal here on the small camp. Successful. Paige gets all 3 creeps. And a golden egg. The chat is loving it.
Egg. So somehow the chat vocabulary just goes down to 1 3-letter word when an egg has been bought. And I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised. I mean, Xeno, I guess, has been a big egg supporter, but I kind of feel like you need some of the damage on Paige in some of these games, or at the very least, you look at some of the things Saya's pulled off on Paige, where it's, I'm a healer, but...
I will say, some people in my games have been doing an interesting thing with the egg. I don't think Paige is going to do this, but like, I was playing with an Ivy who was like buying the egg and then selling it at like when it was worth, I don't know, 1,000 souls, like very, very early sale, just to like instant hard rush Tesla bullet. I don't know that that's actually good in a competitive setting, but I think there are other ways to use this item than just purely like greeting for refresher 20 minutes down the line.
Well, that's what Xeno was actually doing with it on the weekend. He didn't build Tesla and Ivy today, but that was like Xeno was definitely down for the using egg for first item Tesla build. So yeah, it definitely spread far and wide. Also, can we talk about the lane setup where Melee Creeps have correctly deduced where McGinnis is going to be, and they put Sinclair into the lane? Like, that is a lane matchup you 100% want to get if you're the team as Sinclair, and you want to avoid if you're the team with McGinnis.
This is the lane that was hard on the previous remake for Floormen. Silver and Shivs kind of struggling, but a big parry this time. AVG, he said he would do it, and he just called his shot. Maybe now a kill to be had on to do. Silver not wanting to risk any melees, but that's allowing Du to kind of come back into this trade. The slam fire, big damage onto Du, just needs like one more shot, but everyone on just slivers of HP in this lane. Surely Shiv was gonna be able to find and clean up these kills. A few more seconds for that knife. This connects, it almost certainly would be the kill. Another heal from Yamato, but a missed power slash. Not gonna be able to find that kill. AVG hunkering in the corner.
I think if Du had committed the running away, there was actually a chance of leaving. And this time around, we got a pause from the Floormen. As Goober, we had the entire interview with Elizabeth, and at no point did Goober actually work on charging his headphones.
Yeah, Red Classic ran the battery down his headphones doing content. But I can't be too mad. Contest the wave of the future. You got to be up on that. We'll see what Goober can do this game. I think he's going to be a pretty important player, right? I mean, Paradox, the only pick hero on either team this game. So I think he has the opportunity to have a potentially explosive early game, especially, I think, for Paradox around that ult timing. A lot of pressure being put on by Saya, but maybe going a little too deep. One more dagger connection, it might be enough for the kill. He's going to be bleeding. Look at that tick. I think Saya's dead, man.
I don't know if Saya has a stone form. It's on a knife's edge, quite literally, and knife was a little bit too sharp. So Saya ends up going down the left lane, a different story off the remake. And hey, if you're Floormen, you take the gifts here. You're not the ones who asked for the remake. Melee Creeps were. So
yeah,
works out.
Take that to the bank. And I mean, it looks like a decay rush for Shiv. Usually that's what we see when Shiv hangs on to a lot of his souls through this early part of the game. It's going to make especially Yamato's job in this lane a lot harder. You know, just getting ticked down, getting low HP, the threat of those executes, it makes it so much harder to stick in lane. Maybe Shiv just going to get a buy off earlier, though, and not actually save for that full value.
Early gun buff can be devoured by DMB. Where it, you know, McGinnis a little bit quicker on the charges here with the change in stamina buckets this time around, but it'll never make me not laugh when you see a McGinnis just on the chase down of someone.
I like McGinnis with the mobility. Like that is, it's deceptive how big of a deal it is to move stamina buckets, right? It's one of those, like, I think unsung aspects of the game balance where characters are significantly more mobile, especially feels like that scales even better with your skill, right? Like the better a player you are, the more potential you can get out of a higher stam bucket.
Yeah, I mean, you just casual dashes around in lane. I mean, McGinnis got some quickness in her. But yeah, I'm curious once ults come into play. I mean, Scout just got audience participation, can now clone a barrage, but things getting a little bit heavy here on the left-hand side. Take a look here.
Misses.
Half
HP.
No
Yamo.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Wolf comes out. And Rocker actually still has the opportunity in dangerous distance here. Onto Yamato, able to finish off Do. And just like that, gets a little bit of early value off the Lycan.
Yeah, Life Strike available. It's going to be a nice find for Rocker. Able to buy that up next time he heads to a shop. Claire, in a kind of an awkward spot, wants to clear these turrets. Doesn't have the best damage for that in the lane. Wraith hopefully could help with that, but Paige is able to put a ton of pressure on. This golden egg is banking up. Oh, the McGinnis ult, it's cooking. John is down, and it could be another on the deck soon. Scout, stolen ult somewhere in that. We didn't see anything from him, though, in that regard. And the suppressor, man, proving hard to trade into from this McGinnis.
Left-hand side, Saya and Do able to defend some of the assault here now. Oh, the airdrop chased down in on the AVG. Surely he doesn't get away from this one, and does not. Little bag for the to-go for Do.
That's a nice kill to find, right? Getting that revenge gets you right back into the top farm position here. For Do, going to be a crucial player in the early game. Mid lane, though, has been incredibly quiet. Like, no one's really dropped damage there. It's been all the action in the side lanes. Heavy early gun build investment from Goober. On a power slash on both players in the lane. I believe that's full charge. So some nice trading, but Rocker and ABG look very tanky in this one.
I have to be careful. Rocker's about to let out the Wolf. And at half HP, I mean, it's not actually a winnable fight unless they heal. And
I see paradox.
Upside here. Do a shout transformation back, and you know, just wait a little bit for the healing right. It'll be a little bit more fightable.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Yamato, though, really needs to get that spirit power spike, especially the max power slash. I think is a key moment for her. So Sai's gonna have to maybe stay here a little bit more than he might otherwise want to. In general, though, I think this patch, at least the top teams, have been roaming a lot less than we saw in the previous one, right? A lot more stability on the laning phase.
Yeah, at least today. It's kind of interesting because they were roaming all over the place on Sunday, and a little bit more reserved right now.
I see Ivy.
See Silver. Bit of a box run. Saya, mid-air drop. Quick little drop, and yeah, just saying, nope. Not the most free of sinners. At the very least, going to make you think twice. Knocks Oster from Ido, though, back here towards the middle, looking to apply a bit of pressure to the Goober. Goober drops down the wall in response, and a bit of a standoff between the two. Elsewhere, Billy, bash down, looking for DMB. DMB low. Parry comes out, swap towards the end. Not enough to save the Ven, but is enough to punish the Billy on the back end.
It's a nice kill to get on DMB, but ultimately, I think the punish is well worth it for Goober, right? Getting a little bit extra farm. And he's rushing the gun spike, so he's going to be a very significant damage dealer, at least in the early game. You do find DMB, but typically I think if you get that kill and then die for it, ultimately you feed a little bit more than you get. I guess the damage on Goober is something nice. Silver has also invested into an early reactive, so she's going to be very hard to burst down before she gets this Lycan form off.
Also, something to watch here, Ido's had a pretty good early game. Like, has been able to get a good amount of farm in mid, 8.2k Mina. You're not going to see the Mina be as explosive early game, but this is a rising threat for Floormen as the game goes on. If Ido's able to keep up this pace of farm, once you get, you know, another 10 minutes into the game, that's where you're going to see the Mina really start to explode. So, looming threat. See Rocker pick up the slowing bullets. Pretty standard buy nowadays on the Silver.
Chat, very big Page fans right now. Egg up to 1,200 souls. So some significant net worth kind of being stored up there. I wonder when Xeno's going to pop it. Wouldn't be surprised to see it a little bit later for something like a powerful active item or maybe even refresher on Page.
I mean, the real hero is going to be the first player that just have the egg the entire game and never pop it. It's kind of like a aura maneuver.
Now, if you win with the egg, that is Giga Aura, actually. I got to give them that. As 4 players here to the McGinnis lane, that tower is not long for this world. Counterpunch in mid, though. Man, look at that. Those knives hurt, though. Like one more knife, honestly, and I think Ido dies. Like, that's kind of crazy to what Shiv can do damage-wise, even though he doesn't have maybe the tankiness to sustain through those ganks.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the new Shiv. I'm glad he's getting... Okay, people may go, what are you saying? What do you mean he's glad he's getting picked again? Surely he should spend his time in the doldrums and not get picked for a few months. Hasn't he been good enough? It's like, well, I want the hero destroyed. I just want him not ultra top tier. DMB, though, dealing with a dive here from Do. In, off the flying slash, followed by the power slash. Quick, easy finish. Shout transformation, soon to leave.
3 knives, 4 knives. Look at that burn.
Saya's over. In on the urn, drives onto the silver. Charge coming in from the outskirts, though. Melee creeps losing 2. Floormen lose Xeno in the process. Is getting all sorts of scrappy near the urn.
Stolen swap from Scout, but he just can't even get it off. The heavy barrage is just cooking everyone in this team fight. Full duration heavy barrage. And the wall should potentially secure that urn drop. Billy's just still fighting, still trying to delay it, but it looks like a 4-on-1 at this point. And maybe the best he can do is just escape from this. Rocker trying to run him down, but ultimately a very good fight for the Floormen. A lot of kills on that one. They get the urn dunk as well. And League on a killing streak, a spirit buff before that team fight is the dream for McGinnis.
The age of McGinnis is upon us. Melee creeps find themselves nearly 10k down 11 minutes into the game, which even as is kind of a rare sight, Jake, when you look at it. And okay, a little bit of a replay here. And of course, says this went on the other side of the map from the urn. Dude was able to get DMB, ends up getting chased down by AVG. We saw him go in for seconds before we swapped over to the urn.
I mean, he just got burned down. The knives, man. And the parry, too, but I don't even think he needed that. Like, he was dead to knives on Do. The crazy thing is, that's a 1v2. Do is doing his job. He's getting a kill on Ninny Walker. He's forcing a 1v2. Floormen win a 4v5 on the urn. Not only capturing them, but cleaning up as well. So that is a way over performance there for the early game. Really, honestly, on the back of the McGinnis.
Saya going in. Successful stone form drop on to Xeno. Xeno feeling it from all ends. Bash down gonna end him. A very quick and dirty dive in from melee creeps. Takes down Xeno, and who I believe still has the egg. Like, you can absorb all this melee punishment, but only you have the power to break your own egg.
Domini just chunking towers here. Although with John showing up, running low on resource, you don't really want to stick around into this one. Shadow Transform Force, like in Curse, pops in response, but I think both players, maybe he's going to take the reset in base. DMB on the other side of the map on a sliver of HP, and Scout is going to hunt him down. Ultimately, though, I think Yamato just a little bit in too deep. Shouldn't be able to get away from this one. Goober finds the finish. 3 straight for him.
Melee creeps looking like they're going to pull off left, go more towards middle. Xeno relatively safely behind Mid-Walker. I mean, if you're able to get Mid-Walker early, it'd be huge. And even where it's at right now, if melee creeps don't get it now, they should be able to get on the return. However, chase down, seeing Ido a little bit more vulnerable. This is where the changes of Sanguine Retreat does make Mina a little bit more vulnerable at this point. The ball's going to connect. Just one more shot. Wait, surely, does Ido actually get out here, Jake? I think he may have cleared it.
I think he has 2. 3 daggers, though. Hold on.
Make them pay for this.
That might be enough to take down Sinclair. He's bleeding out pretty bad. Look at that tick damage on him. And he's dead, man. AVG is a tanky beast, too. Hasn't even over-invested in the spirit damage. And look at the ticks on Billy. I mean, I think Billy's dead, too.
Billy is bleeding out all over the base. Can't get back to the fountain. I've perhaps bad news to many in the chat. The tales of the demise of Shiv have been greatly exaggerated. He's back. He was gone for half a week. Enjoy.
Yeah, seriously, man. And honestly, this isn't even like a crazy damage investment. AVG just stacking up the knives. He's 17k souls. Bit of counter pressure coming in on Xeno, who has finally expended the egg. Bot knockdown with it. Absolute coward behavior. Might win him the game, though.
Melee creep's certainly not out of it here just yet. Again, you think to the late game. Their late game power is pretty scary between the Mina, Wraith, Yamato. And yeah, Floormen, you got Ven, Shiv, Silver, but I give a small nod to melee creeps in the end of the game, so... You know, the key for Floormen is how you take the small lead you have right now and extending it further. Also, can we get a check on Xeno? Surely the egg has been devoured by this point,
yeah,
yes?
he ate it. He ate it by knockdown. Which I think is a good buy, right? Like, knockdown helps a lot in catching someone like Saya if he flies away, if Ido is trying to slip out on the Mina, right? A couple of those escapes wouldn't have been possible against a knockdown. Could be a mid-guard or mid-walker take here, though. Damage on a Silver, but just doesn't seem like there's much follow-up there. Rocker shirking that pressure. But with the HP on the tower, it just doesn't seem realistic to make the hold. Diving forward, though, is AVG. He wants a big piece of this. And they're trying to turn around and maybe punish him for his hubris. That restorative locket does give him a little boost of HP, but I think ultimately the bloodletting should be ticking him out. This is such a deep dive, though, from melee creeps. Do they really have the numbers to sustain this? Diving forward is Yamato. The rallying charge is perfect, though. Gives AVG just enough health to play with. Yamato running out on this one. The Arrow Domini would be easily enough to finish him. If you could just get vision for a moment and hold on, the shot does miss, but eventually Du gets cut down, and no way AVG gets out of that one.
It was a super, super deep dive. I mean, melee creeps, they still get to leave with mid-walker. Getting mid-walker down this early in the game is pretty big. They also might even get serious damage onto left walker. I don't know if they have enough to kill it here just yet, but once you get the walker down the half, it does set up the subsequent push. AVG, though, knives are out this time, looking for the punish onto left-hand side. You also got DMB in hot pursuit. Got to spend a little bit of time as Rabbit, though. Scout coming on over, close to an audience participation. A scrappier fight here at Urn Tournament, but I don't think melee creeps have the gas to actually defend.
Yeah, they're so low on everyone, and fantastic fight from the walker. AVG never went back to base after that escape. Xeno just healed him up using all those beautiful page resources, and he just gets right back into the action, sends Ido packing, and it's enough space for the Urn Dunk.
Oh, this time Ido on the restart. I don't think, to anyone's knowledge, Ido has been hit by a tornado this game, so should be a quick reconnect, a normal reconnect. And now we had to deal with Scout earlier. I will.
Jake, is knockdown really that much better than a Fiki egg?
Look, the egg has more aura, but knockdown on page is like just one of the best items in the game. You need a solid setup for your captivating read, right? Keeping people locked down is exactly what this character wants to do. And so, yeah, I'd say it is. But I think it's like a good way of thinking about the item. You don't necessarily have to greed it out for thousands and thousands of souls. You know, if you just need to pop it to get some big value before a key moment in the game, like fighting over an urn, ready for a team fight. Winning that team fight is going to be worth way more souls to your team than the egg generates in its entire lifetime.
Fine. I see your point. AVG on the Shiv looking good. Looks like the game is back live. ZP, your game.
We're into it, and again, I think some people may tune into this and be like, I thought he was dead. I was told by good sources that Shiv was dead. Not quite.
No.
Goober, though, may... okay, not dead. Wall buys enough clearance.
I think it's the T that people might not want to hear, but the movement skill on Shiv with the secondary fire is so high that honestly, I have a hard time imagining Shiv ever not being good in the hands of the best players in the game.
By the way, and then the mini patch they just did, it got 10% more knockback back.
Yeah, but I mean, losing a stamina, I think is still like, I'd still rather have one more stamina probably on this character, since you're typically not going to buy stam either. But to your point, like people's high skill with this. By the way, Ido goes in for a trade and gets smoked there. I think he was a little bit overconfident, thinking he could tango with Rocker.
Ido's saying here is like, when does my Mina come online? It's like a little bit later. Not quite at that point, but instead going for a little bit of a nibble here onto the Priest. To see DMB able to escape with just the rake. I don't think Love Bites proc there.
15k soul lead for the Floormen. League just farming it up. It's been a while since we've seen him into the action, but just the threat of the McGinnis ult alone has been enough to secure some of these team fights. And the first pick looks more than justified right now. I mean, I wonder what he's building on McGinnis. Like, probably a lightning scroll. He's going unstop first. Pretty understandable. Secure item. But I feel like once you get the lightning scroll, that's when this gets out of control, man. All those stuns in the team fight. and you get somebody lightning scroll, you're just dead. By the time the stun's not that long, but you will probably die before it ends.
Yeah, and the unstop makes a lot of sense, particularly when you have Psy on the other side, where right now heavy barrage is more of a crime of passion for McGinnis, because if you drop it at the wrong time, you're just gonna get a gargoyle in your face, or right now you're just gonna get a gargoyle in your face just because telekinesis off the airdrop into McGinnis, just down into the dirt. Saya, a very quick initiation off the Ivy with the fall through courtesy of John.
Crazy gang squad there coming in. Dispel Magic used on this Yamato. She's still holding on to the ultimate, sticking around in this fight for a long time. You do get that ult out from Yam, but if help comes into this one, as Ido seems to be doing, are you really gonna be able to fight this one out? The sustain though, so far so good. Shotgun knockdown into the rallying charge. Big hits now from the crossbow, and the lockdown there sets up an easy shot. However, the counterburst is in first. Ido comes in, bails out Dew, and suddenly the fight turned on its head. Xeno, DMB overestimating their strength there. Perfectly timed roam from Ido, and you get absolutely bait into that one.
Really nice move from Xeno, though. I mean, you'd think Xeno dies here, and yet Xeno has broken clearance, actually completely breaks Dew's ankles, and I think is in the process of taking the teleporter at the moment.
He's
Maybe
running.
No, just straight up running, and gets away with it, too.
Yeah. Buffs, though, going to be yielded over to melee creep. Xeno on such low HP probably needs to reset before he's ready to fight. The rest of Floormen, though, not wanting to give up earn control for free. They're still bringing resources into this one. They've shown the ability to win down numbers team fights in the past, but feels scary to do it now. But look at their confidence, man. They are not respecting even down numbers. They just walk forward and kill Fishcake. Goober reads the play.
No paradoxical swap required there either, by the way. Goober still has ult. That was just the walk-up kill into, yeah, let's go mid-boss. Is down Fishcake enough for mid-boss here? If you're melee creeps, you gotta be looking at the contestant. You got the tools for it here, Jake. Particularly, you got the Sinclair, you got Ivy. This is not a free mid-boss by any stretch of the imagination, even up one.
I mean, this is full confidence from Floormen in the McGinnis. They think this McGinnis ult is just gonna win any team fight. Stolen McGinnis ult now from Scout. Can he rip the heavy barrage? It looks like the real one comes out from League first. Unstoppable, though, breaks it. One rejuve goes to each team. Xeno has already lost, I believe, the second rejuve. League about to consume the next. The fight seems to be good for melee creeps. You're still holding on to the Yamato ult. Wraith pumping damage here into Silver. Ideal situation. The McGinnis heal stabilizing for a while, but AVG is starting to strike blood first. That McGinnis heal kept Rocker alive for a few more seconds, but will it be enough? The execute comes in. It's not enough to finish off Ido, but Ido not long for this world, and AVG starting to clean house here. Huge dash on the 4. Instant reset of that one. Silence all the way into the Wraith. Should be able to get that kill. Finds the finish onto John, and this is AVG's world. We're just living in it.
Chiv's back, baby, and at just one slice of dice after another. AVG letting the knives roll. League, though, dying towards the end. Melee creeps coming back in. This is a fight that never seems to end. Saya, though, gonna get hit with the shotgun in the back. A little bit of damage from Goober. The big parry from AVG. Gonna stop Fishcake in his tracks. And now, walking around, Shiv just won't die in the middle of this fight. Backed up right now by Dew. Maybe soon the fall. Goes for the other parry attempt. This time doesn't get it. Fishcake in off the back. Finds Goober. Rising Ram into AVG from the side. He's just ticking down right now, though. Parry attempt by AVG. And the melee lifesteal just puts Fishcake over the top.
Oh, man. AVG went for that parry. Still taking from the dagger, but...
Oh, my God. Jake, I think he went down to 20 HP at the end.
That is a crazy margin there. I mean, AVG did the most in that team fight. I want to note, too, League, I don't think he popped Unstop on his ultimate. Maybe he had already used it because Saya just walked in early in that fight. Stoneform canceled the ulti. And one of the most powerful tools that Floormen have been investing in just didn't really get much of anything in that fight. Ido denies the lion's share of the souls from that center. A nice little small victory for him. And melee creeps show that they've got more to say in this match.
Yeah, after all the smoke is cleared, I mean, Floormen end up a little bit behind where they started. I think they had something like a 10k lead going into mid-boss. I might be wrong, but it's about as even gets. And even with Floormen getting 2 rejuves, the actual fight around it, you know, ends up leaving us in a very even situation.
ZP, chat was saying that it looked like Wraith, John, had just free farming for the last 5-10 minutes. How far ahead is he, if that's true?
Overall, stay the game. I mean, you got Wraith at 28k, equivalent on the other side, and DMB at 24k. It's not the highest we've seen a Wraith get ahead of the game, but he's in a good spot right now. Like, you're looking at this you're playing on a team, you know, at a pub game or something, you see your Wraith at this level of farm, this deep in the game, you're not mad.
Yeah, it could definitely get worse from here. I will say, interestingly, he skipped Capacitor in this build, has gone for a more emphasis on the spirit damage with the Merc Mag. I think this is probably a net higher DPS build with a little bit less catch involved in it. But they kind of need that DPS to get through some of these tanky frontliners, right? McGinnis, it's like the only thing you can do to her is just burst her down. I mean, that last fight getting the stuns on her was nice, but her sustain in this is definitely scary for somebody like Yamato or Mina who want to find these burst kills, get in, get out. They don't want to be stuck in protracted engagements. I mean, I feel like one of those dashes from AVG ended up missing, and honestly, I think if he connects on that and gets the cooldown reduction from the max dash, like, he might have cleaned house.
Jake, things are about to heat up. We're 30 seconds away from next urn, next set of buffs. Doesn't get more even than this in the mid game. Again, though, I do think the scary thing for Floormen is that the later game gets a little bit better for melee creeps, particularly the fact that Ido, who's had a relatively quiet game so far, gets to be loud and explosive on the Mina. The deeper into the game we get is a hero that just enjoys late game a lot more now.
There's a lot of late game scaling, though, on both comps. Like, I'm actually curious to see how McGinnis scales into the ultra late.
True.
You know, I think like things like Lightning Scroll, Boundless, Refresher could make things like kind of crazy, right? 2 walls, 2 heals. I think McGinnis has a crazy late game. I don't know if we've really even seen that yet since she's been so dominant in the game she has been played. Urn control looks to be going the way of Floormen, and I mean, Wraith's not here, so...
It's an airdrop Billy. Wait, airdrop Billy squad rolling up on McGinnis. Force out the unstoppable pretty much instantly. And you get the rallying charge from afar. Xeno doing everything possible to keep the McGinnis up. McGinnis now turning the tides, dropping the turrets. Plenty of support, not fearing death whatsoever. Fishcake ends up falling, and the gank attempt, courtesy of Sai and Fishcake, goes absolutely awry.
Yeah, overconfidence there. Ido now rips the Nox Nostra, coming in from above. DMB getting very low, needs to fall back to the McGinnis turrets where the team is really powerful. This is a dangerous area to continue to fight into, especially considering you're down 1. Melee creeps would love to find a punish back. Saya's even deep behind the walker, but I think Floormen are sensing they might have an opportunity to turn this one around. Yamato pops the ulti, and it's starting to run out without much to show for it. I feel like it's time to back off here, Melee creeps, but they still think they can get a little bit more out of this team fight. Saya's going to drop for that hubris, though, and honestly, I wonder if other players aren't going to be able to escape either. Ido in trouble. AVG takes a bit of aggression himself, so, I mean, Melee creeps, there's still threats on this team, and especially as they have urn control. Floormen are maybe a little bit overly desperate to chase forward, but if you find a kill onto Ido, that opens up a lot of possibilities to reset the map.
I think they'll chase down Ido. It's late enough to the game.
They swapped him.
Through those saying, but yeah, John John's caught. John in all sorts of trouble. The knives out from AVG. Get a fish at Fishcake. Back into the fray, off a respawn, putting some serious damage here on the AVG. He's tanky, but is he gonna live here? The bloodletting still going on.
The heals. I think he's okay. No way. All right, that rescue beam from Xeno, it was a godsend there. I mean, he was dead to rights until he gets pulled out there. And the fact that you get that last second kill onto John, by the time AVG resets his HP, you're going to have a good 30 seconds without the most farmed player in the enemy team on the map. Question is, what do you do with it?
The interesting thing is that even getting John, they lose Urn and melee creeps, even though they got outfought, even with, you know, League able to shake off the gank, drop unstoppable, go back. Like, Floormen looked good on the basics there, but they gave up Urn control, and melee creeps actually end up ahead in farm by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah, man, the Colossus Billy on the Ivy ult is like a hell of a nuclear bomb to drop in the enemy backline. And they're trying to hit that school of thought of run through the McGinnis, get right on top of her so she just can't get value on the ulti.
It's hard to do, though, at this point. Though. With Unstoppable, she doesn't have to use Unstoppable with her ult. She can also use Unstoppable when she looks to the sky and sees a flying goat. Honestly, pretty good time to hit the button, I would say.
Yeah, it's kind of an all-in play, right? If you don't get some kills on that dive, like, eventually you're just going to die on Billy. You know, you are a bit of a one-and-done all-in hero. Maybe there's an argument you might as well just go super committed. By the way, Focus Lens picked up on the Mina, puts a lot of damage onto AVG. Swap deployed from Goober, and a big catch onto Ido. Finds himself in a bit of trouble, has to Sanguine out of here. Rocker puts some serious pressure on him to pop that Lycan Curse, and Saya ends up getting caught in the chaos.
Worst pick that melee creeps could give up, losing Saya early, especially with mid-boss up. Now, I mean, you don't have the Stone Form for contest, but you still have the Sinclair, you still have options. Melee creeps are not going to let this go for free.
A bunch of bunnies trying to take mid boss. Doesn't look too likely.
Yeah.
I agree. This is a bit of a wild take. Looks like they're going to try and force a fight instead, which I like, but will it actually be good? Stolen McGinnis ult, and you're out. You're in good position here on Scout to deliver the pain. I think Floormen recognize this. They're looking for kills. They're trying to come up to the second floor. Wraith tries to blink out, tries to get away. Big silence wave. It's an absolute brawl in the small room here. Big rallying charge from Paige sets the tone of the team fight, and Melee Creeps struggling to get into this one. Johnson had to run for the hills, and oh, McGinnis is turbo running at them. Can you get any more connection? He's going to just back off and maybe go back towards the mid pit.
Zeno got the dream, the double rallying charge in the hallway. The horses came out not once, but twice. Clears out the mid-boss pit. The contest is over. 3 reju. Wait, no, it's not over. It's not over. Oh, actually, what's
he's late.
Shout transformation. Can you get at least one rejuve here? Parry, non-stop parries, but you can't convert it into the melee on the crystal. The attempt does not pan out, even though Dew was just sitting there spamming the F key.
I mean, he was just too late for that one. You already got 2 crystals for Floormen. I mean, that's that 1 second faster drop coming into play. Yamato just an inch late. And ultimately, you give up another very farmed hero on a very long spawn timer alongside a triple rejuve. So while that could have been a hero play from Dew, instead it makes things go from bad to worse here as double buffs to be claimed by Shiv and Silver, respectively. And a Shiv with a life buff with this build, pretty scary. Arctic Blast, Silence Wave. I mean, there's a lot of ganking potential from Shiv, and I kind of love this build from AVG.
Floormen, with the rejuves taken into consideration, working at the advantage. Plenty of time, Jake, left on the rejuve to either use this onto a push on the left or mid. And also, the fact is for melee creeps, I can't... Wait. Okay, you go for the drop. Surely this is just a delay, though. Like, this is just abusing, you know, Sinclair's ability to get out of anything. You definitely... Wait, someone got swapped!
Yeah, the swap in. Somebody overextended for that one, and Shiv just running it in for the dunk. Ivy caught with the lightning scroll. It's kind of assisting in this chase. League smells blood in the water. Going to put a lot of pressure on. It's going to be a free dunk for AVG. He's going to get absolutely all of the souls off of that one. Heavy Barrage is deployed for that. But the cooldown is not that long on this ability, and the duration is so ridiculous. He even gets a stun onto Ido.
Floormen trying to extend the lead. Melee creeps, actually, they want to fight here. Rejuves or no. They're set to the opportunity. Stone Form in from Saya, off on the gank. Fishcake popping the Colossus, and I think everyone just kind of gets walled out. And here come the horses for the side. Zeno dropping a bit of disruption. Fishcake turning tail, trying to go onto the page while also just kind of backing up. Hit and run as Floormen get a good rotation. Saya can't get away. So Melee creeps, again, they try and get a pick off. But the support coming in from Floormen is a little too good between the wall and Zeno off on the rallying charge.
It's some crazy confidence from Melee Creeps to even go for that play. And honestly, although they lose Saya, I feel like this sort of fight is actually kind of better than the alternative of allowing Floormen to get a grouped up siege on one of these walkers that they're starting to feel the need to unlock to open up these item slots. We're kind of reaching that point where some of your carries are sweating the fact that they don't have that next item slot unlocked. Wouldn't be surprised to see Floormen kind of run it down for maybe this side walker as they're already putting a lot of pressure on mid.
They got about a quarter of the rejuve time left. Melee creeps gonna have to defend. Yeah. They're gonna have to defend Walker Sansaya, which is to say, I don't think it's gonna be a full Walker defense attempt. There's you can push people out, but you're not gonna be able to defend. Now the Walker's down. If you're Floormen, you're looking for the opportunity. However, okay, Dew getting caught in on the side. Is Falter gonna be there? Fishcake and Dew looking their chops. However, the Cavalry has arrived. Shout transformation forced out here. Bundu goes for round 2 here on the DMB. In from the back. Maybe a bit of a suicide mission, but you want to get the priest. DMB goes down. And in fact, Dew is actually doing all sorts of damage here. The slashes hitting multiple people. Flying slash towards the end. Goes to the wall. Onto Goober. Goober ultra low. In pursuit is Dew. Final right click. Gonna deal with the Rejuve, and he's spawn camping. He's waiting for a little bit more. Rejuve is gone, and the hunger is not yet satiated.
Yeah, both Shadow Transforms used, but it seems to be enough. Melee Creeps got the advantage in that fight. The double Shadow Transform was enough. Nice counterspell from Rocker. Dodges the full charge power slash. And I suspect that'll be enough for him to get out of dodge on this one. But they're looking for...
So that's why they take Yamato.
I mean, there's real potential for it. Takes a lot of damage. These bombs, 11 stacks now onto Yamato. She might be in a little bit of trouble, though. The Dispel Magic does deny the knockdown, making sure she can get out of this one clean.
Oh man, Jake, this has been back and forth and then some. We're in the true late game right now, and it is still even. It is rare to see this be the case. Oftentimes, one of the two teams is going to have a 20, 30K lead, and you're talking about what are the win conditions. But this game is about as wide open as it gets, as we're about 90 seconds out from mid-boss, and a little bit less than that for next turn and buffs.
I think they fought through that mid-boss cycle incredibly well in the melee creeps. I mean, that was a real showcase of how it's possible to do that. I mean, I think in general, you ask the average Deadlock player, what do you do down triple rejuve? The answer is lose, but not for the melee creeps, man. They were taking fights. They were pushing the risk there and having a great read, it seems, man. Big value on Yamato in that fight. Killing DMB off twice is a huge deal with how much farm has been invested into the Venator. You really need that damage through the course of a long engagement, and I felt that the formation got a little bit scattered for the Floormen. They kind of got picked apart during that siege.
Also, some kind of Homelander versus Soldier Boy, like, no, I'm the upgrade there as Dew takes down DMB, the person he replaced on melee creeps. No less. Now that I think about the meta implications of the fight.
Yeah, a little bit of, I wonder, the emotions of the players right now, right? How they're feeling into this one as it's going, we're going deep, right? We're going down to the point where, to be honest, an even game at this state, it's likely that a lot of these fights end with both teams battered and bruised and no obvious victor. Although melee creeps showing dominance on the map. They're going to claim a double buff and likely the earn control on this one as a gun buff given over to the Wraith. Pretty ideal scenario going into a team fight.
Ido, pretty split from the team. Floormen, if they could get an engage right now, it would be ideal. Although, you're Mina, you're never too far away. But this is looking a little bit more interesting. Saya taking John for a ride up over the top. And, okay, McGinnis has seen this movie before, instantly drops the barrage, does not want to deal with that one bit. Melee creeps take the hint and back away.
Yeah, just full disengaging from the heavy barrage. Does give earn control over to the Floormen.
Headed to Broadway.
But melee creeps don't really pay much of a price for that. Like, the waves are crashing against Floormen. This is far from a secured earn. And mid-boss is up too. If you really try to run this earn, you might actually just rip it in on the mid-boss here for melee creeps. And I think Floormen are sensitive to that possibility as they're trying to clear waves. They do not want to go to that left wave that's going to crash against their base guardians. As, yeah, melee creeps are just going to pull the trigger, forcing some kind of a response here as the rejuve's dropping.
They have Shout Transmission. Yeah, Dew's going to use Shout Transmission immediately. Doesn't care about the horses. First rejuve. The rejuves are split right now. Both teams into it. Dew gets a second rejuve charge. Melee creeps get 2 of the 3. And Dew Unleash gets Rocker with the Power Slash immediately thereafter. The team fight. Better for melee creeps so far. All rejuves, though, have been used. Floormen getting the worst end of the deal here so far.
Yeah, and I mean, you might have lost your rejuves, but melee creeps are getting the fight they were hoping for. Now, everyone's swarming onto DMB as the last man standing. A fly onto the Wraith is just going to send her straight to the base to progress the siege. They don't even need to help kill off DMB. Great read from Saya, just immediately pulls out of that fight, and that's only going to speed the time they have to just burst down these shrines.
You take the Saya Express directly to the shrines, and John, who still has gun buff, by the way, is completely ripping them apart. This is endgame objective damage and then some. He's got top objective damage from this push alone.
I think it's game. I mean, I just don't think you're going to be up in time. It might be a little sketchy, but I think the melee creeps might just be able to commit hard into this. Still a few seconds before the next spawners come in, and with the Hidden King reforming into second phase, yeah, it's just up to Rocker and Cooper to hold off, and it's just not possible. The Patron's down way too quick. So a beautiful final team fight. Melee creeps on the back foot for quite some time in that match, but they turn it around when it really counts and lock in a dominant win there in the end.
Melee creeps bouncing back from the internet issues. Scout and crew getting the job done, and Dew, you made Yamato look good. We apologize. She is now 2-8 in the last 10 games. We've got Jake on the mic to break everything down. Jake, what was the difference? Because at the end, it's what, 3K soul difference between the two squads? So close in the final 2 minutes.
I mean, this was not about items, right? This was not about economy. I feel like melee creeps, the fact that they played into the opposing triple rejuve aggressively, they were looking for fights, they delayed things out, and when it came to the siege, ultimately Floormen got brutally punished for that. And from there, they couldn't get their waves out again. I mean, Melee Creeps, it's just a masterclass from them, right? They macro played perfectly there, putting Floormen to some incredibly difficult decisions, and they just kind of slipped up at the end. They just weren't ready for the mid-boss take. It went down too fast. The Wraith and the Yamato really proved their worth in this one.
ZP, you were on Discord at 3 p.m. Eastern, walking me through all of the patch notes and all the big storylines on the day. It's now 10:17 p.m. We're going into a game 2. Is this a midnight game 3 scenario tonight on the night shift? People are already claiming it is the greatest game of games. Greatest night of games. Jesus.
Honestly, I mean, first statement wasn't even inaccurate. Deadlock is just the game. But look, all in all, I think this is the best Floormen I've looked in quite a while. I mean, Melee Creeps looked a little bit vulnerable, sure, but there were some key plays coming out here. I think League is absolutely impressed on the McGinnis. Maybe DMB is still settling a little bit back into the team. I think, there's a few points this game where, maybe things were a little bit out of sync, but this has been the best AVG has looked in a long while. And to do it on Shiv, a hero that some people are declaring dead, nah, Shiv isn't dead, and neither is AVG. Floormen came to play here today, and realistically, even just a little bit of variation on some of the team fights in this game, we're talking about Melee Creeps staring down the barrel of the streak being broken.
Jake, was there a clutch that you witnessed, or what do you think decided this game? Because everyone is saying a nuts comeback from MLC.
Yeah, I think it's honestly the way they played into the rejuves. Like, I've not seen that, I think, in a team just walking in against triple rejuves. Like, Floormen used a lot of ultimate, sure, but they still had 3 extra lives. Melee Creeps take the fight to them. Ultimately, they actually just lose Saya, but they waste so much time in doing that when the push ultimately does come in, it ends up costing DMB his life. The way they played that fight too with the Yamato refresher, killing off DMB twice and winning a fight into rejuves. I mean, I think those are something that kind of only you would think Melee Creeps can pull off. Is this crazy rescue beam that just barely saved AVG, also made huge difference. Xeno, honorable mention, huge performance from him into this one.
Xeno on the page looking great. The Sinclair was a question for a lot of people in chat. How did he perform, and did the McGinnis Barrage have the same impact as the game before, ZP?
I think Scout had a huge impact on the game. He was not only getting good barrage steals, but you just see the impact of having a Sinclair on your team when it comes to mid-boss. You are just able to be an annoyance. You're able to delay. Rabbit Hex is just one of the best abilities at mid-contest. Also, got to give a shout-out to the big subs that just came on in. Per production, it was Smokey D777 with 20 gifted. Yes.
Wow. Thank you, Smokey, for the big drop-off, celebrating a huge game number 1 as we take a look at the numbers. Who stands out, Jake?
I want to give a lot of credit to AVG for a very big game here, but ultimately on the other side, I think it was Do who really impressed me in this one. Like, John, a decent performance from him for sure, and brought it home at the end, but Do was the one kind of putting his life at risk there in a lot of moments, like taking big gambles, going for the frontline fights even in hard scenarios, and it doesn't always come up in his favor, but we have seen a lot of Yamatos fall flat, and this was not that kind of performance. I mean, today we really saw, okay, there is true potential from this. And he's kept being willing to play his role and take those risks. Even when the game was hard, even when things were against him, he had to put his life on the line, and he delivered.
ZP, the people were saying the Priest is slowing down. DMB looked like he was off to a hot start. How does he get things going to get revenge against his old squad?
I mean, I think for DMB, maybe caught out a few times here. I don't think it was the worst Ven game. I think there are plenty of times where, a well-timed Era Domini was able to shut down Do. I also think when we talked a little bit about AVG having an incredible game, but for Floormen, I think the person that we felt his influence the most was probably Xeno. Xeno's support gameplay was at times every bit as impactful on the page as what we've seen from Saya on the Ivy. Even in this game where Ivy was just leading the full gank Ivy, which is honestly, you look at hero designs, the fact that the Ivy changes worked out in a way that people are incentivized now to use airdrop as an initiation tool, as a tool to pick off people alone in lane is really, really cool. Like, I love the fact that you're seeing the more dynamic form of Ivy, but the reason why that didn't do more damage in this game is that Xeno basically had almost no missed rallying charges, right place, right time, and certainly was able to keep people like League and Rocker up when they needed it most, and AVG for that matter.
Hell of a game number 1, 37 minutes, 23 seconds, the decider. It's Melee Creeps, despite getting out-killed. They walk away with the game. And Jake, what can you learn from that first one and take into your second one for the Floormen? Because I have a feeling they're not done fighting here.
Absolutely not. The thing is about that game is like, I don't even know if you really change anything like draft wise. I mean, you can even flame DMB for not having kills in that one, but his hero damage very high. He's participating in like a ton of those key fights, and it sucks not getting the final blows, honestly, on a carry, because you want that extra farm. It accelerates your items, and so it does hurt, especially on Venator with such a great last hitting tool as that ultimate. But ultimately, still, I don't think you really want to overthink this one. It came down to some very close fights. It came down to melee creeps with some very, very clean executions. You could easily just run that draft back, and I wouldn't even blame you for it.
Thanks again to Smokey for the 20 gifted. Shout out to all of the new primers. We are now up over 600 subs again over on twitch.tv/Deadlock Night Shift. We're also live over on YouTube, and we just got a $215 tip. ZP, Ooh. Give me some more gas before we go to break, because that's a big dono.
I mean, I just want to know what Eric wrote in as a donation. I mean, 250 to the prize pool. That is ridiculous. Thank you so much, Eric. I don't believe that's Eric Longquist, because it'd probably say GG Dub if it was. Well done.
Yeah, bloodthirsty supports all over the place. Guys, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we'll find out exactly which Eric is a Deadlock fan, and do we go to a game 3, or is this one done in 2 like it used to be, MLC style? We'll be right back. Sometimes you just gotta poke the wall and make purple stuff come out. We got Jake and ZP here on the show, and we just witnessed a 37-minute game where the team that had less kills won for the first time in my recollection happening in a grand final. Jake, does this happen often in your night shift, or sorry, in your Deadlock games when you're just playing matchmaking?
It's hard to make comebacks. Honestly, I think it's even harder in a competitive team environment where teams are very good at leveraging the advantage and continually growing it and growing it. And I think melee creeps, while often they play from ahead and just stomp down matches, they've shown that they have the resilience to fight back in tougher scenarios here. And honestly, it's kind of an ideal way to start the series. That being said, this one was so incredibly close. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see any kind of result out of this one. Like, Floormen showed that they can absolutely compete. It came down to like a couple unfortunate moments that turned the game against them. They didn't even get a final fight at all, really, because of that quick thinking from Saya to bring the siege engine John quickly into the base at the end of that last fight. So honestly, that one really felt like it was going to go the other way, and I have no idea how the rest of the series is going to go.
Zeep, this seems way closer than the fights we had in EU, and that went to a game 3. How do you compare the two regions, and what has NA showed you tonight?
I mean, between the two regions, I think this is actually one of the times that they're relatively more aligned, like maybe not prioritizing beginners to a high extent, but I think in the chaos of a new patch, almost all seems a little bit equal. Obviously, EU has a storyline of Abraham's like has kind of lost their way and they haven't quite regained it, even though the games today were quite close. I think Melee Creeps is kind of suffering a little bit from that too, where, you know, patches and games are the great equalizer and everything is up for grabs. The interesting thing for me going into the upcoming draft also is the idea that I don't know if we're going to see many changes, because I think both teams walk away from that last game and go, damn, that was winnable. I mean, in one case, one team won and the other team is probably like, we should have won. So I don't know if we get significant changes in the draft, because both teams can kind of reliably walk away and be like, well, we can run that back. It's fine.
Jake, was there like a pick that you feel was missing on either side that they might prioritize this time around in draft number 2?
I don't know. I mean, draft-wise, it's really hard to criticize either team. I mean, I think this was one of the most even games we've had in a long time in the night shift, with the teams neck and neck. Like, even though Floormen had an advantage at one point, I don't think it was ever more than like 10 or 20k souls, even pretty deep into the game. So draft-wise, I feel like for Floormen, I don't know that they really should change much. Like, people look comfortable on their heroes. The execution was good. Maybe the one thing is you might think about banning Sinclair out if you want to go for the McGinnis. Or maybe picking it yourselves to block it, because those steals on the heavy barrage did give, I think, Melee Creeps a tool that maybe Floormen weren't quite ready for. So you have to go for a first pick McGinnis, and you end up also giving over that same ultimate to a character with an arguably more versatile kit. It felt pretty powerful to go up against, even though they were ahead for most of the
ZP, Mina has been a first-round pick. Ida was able to lock her in this last game, but it was a very close fight. Do you expect Mina to be in future NA games, or do we move off of her for this next one?
No, I mean, I think the Mina was fine. It was probably a little bit of a down game for Ido, but you don't expect your Mina to be early mid-game force. You kind of pick her for late-game stability.
Closer.
I'm thinking on the draft right now, though, and even in defeat, things Floormen might want to change. I don't know if Melee Creeps would first pick McGinnis. if they have the pure first pick. So if I'm Floormen, I actually kind of go into this and I want to pick second, because then you can get McGinnis +1. You can either get McGinnis Billy or McGinnis Ivy, and that looked really good for Floormen back in the previous game, but instead they decide they want the ultimate first pick yet again. It's going to force a Mo ban out of melee creeps. We'll see what they ban in turn, but they probably go first pick McGinnis once more.
Shout out to a few of our chatters. They say the guy in the middle looks like he backed up Zac Efron on set. The guy on the right looks like Abrams. The guy on the left, get him off my screen. Thank you all for welcoming us into our Deadlock broadcast tonight. This is the night shift. You're watching the best NA teams in the grand finals, but Moen Krill is not allowed to play. He's too good. On the other side, Jake, what is Melee Creeps going to get rid of? McGinnis will not be a first pick this time around.
I mean, I think they did feel the threat of like some of those fights in the early game. They won a 4v5 team fight on Floormen on, I think, the first urn. Not supposed to happen that way. So maybe Melee Creeps just thinking, look, we want to take away one of your most powerful tools. If you're going to pick it overall first, we know that your strategy is going to rely on it to some extent. And although Floormen grabbed the Billy, which is a first pick you really can't argue with, it doesn't feel like it has that same explosive, unique power as the McGinnis.
All I can think
Billy's
about
locked in. Good.
Yeah, Billy gets locked in. All I can think about is the future Reddit thread of, what do you mean McGinnis was getting first bans and first picked? What in the world is going on? Well, you're going to lock in the Ivy from the Melee Creeps. And also, you know what I'd like to see them pull in here, especially with Billy off the table? Get the best M1 in the game. Don't put John on Wraith. Get John back on the Venator. It's his favorite hero. And instead they go Wraith. I would have preferred the Ven.
I mean, they like the mobility that Wraith offers, a little bit better in and out. I want to see like a Silver Kelvin draft. I mean, this is what we saw in EU, right? I think it was from Abrahams in one of the games that we saw them play. And I actually think like Silver Billy Kelvin is a monster top 3. I think it's very hard to fight into, but Floormen go Viscous. So Goober's going to send it on the Viscous more than likely.
He's made it in!
To see him.
Ladies and gentlemen, Viscous was the first ban. All of the games that the Floormen have participated in, he finally gets his guy. This is a character ban that is just a monster hunter, huh? Does anyone else play Viscous outside of Goober? Like, this isn't a situation where Together flexes off of his shiv, is it?
In recent times, Goober has kind of been the representative of the Viscous army, and honestly, Viscous is quite good at the moment. I mean, the amount of disruption you're getting out of Puddle Punch is frankly legendary. This is a little bit weird to me, though, from Melee Creeps, or rather for Floormen, in that they proud Shiv highly. I get it. AVG had a monster game. They're probably worried about the mid-stage bans. But now if you're Melee Creeps, I think 100% the ban to come in here needs to be Venator, because you've picked up Wraith. Venator is the clear M1 option for Floormen. You can't... They take down Kelvin.
I actually agree with this. I think the Kelvin is a bigger threat.
Yeah.
Because honestly, you get locked in the Thunderdome with Shiv and Billy. I think it's super, super scary. I think Kelvin is honestly like a Wraith counter, because you dome her out, she just does nothing. Like, she has 0 contribution to the team fight. She cannot play. You dome her in, it's even worse, right? The blink is not getting you out of that Kelvin dome, and you're often going to be dead before the walls come down. So I feel like this maybe is an even bigger threat. But to your point, it feels like you don't want to take Venator here. Just going double carry is super, super risky into the aggression that Floormen have shown. And I think you will be giving it back over to DMB now.
You're about to watch my greatest trick.
Well, the Sinclair comes in. We kind of talked about the ideas like, okay, maybe you ban the Sinclair, but it's not as scary. I mean, yeah, he's going to be able to clone Billy, which is a scary clone, but you don't have the McGinnis as an extra prize. But for Floormen here, almost certainly going to be Ven +1. If they're going to be playing Viscous as more of a pick and have Goober on it, they're also going to be looking for a support. So, okay, they pick up the Mina. That means they don't want Ido to have the Mina. That part is interesting.
I wonder if this is a DMB Mina, because honestly, I liked it more the way EU was playing Mina as the hard carry. Because she showed she can do that, and she can also bring a lot of tempo into the early game. However, NA, I think, if into contrast the regions, they've been playing a lot more passively, so they're going to go with like the double carry role with Mina a little bit more on that secondary side of it. And honestly, I'm kind of curious to see how this works out if we ever get a regional clash, because EU has a very different take on the meta. They play generally 5 tempo heroes in 1 carry, where NA has been a little bit greedier. I think they played the game a little bit slower right now. It's hard to say what's right and what's wrong, but there's definitely a clear difference between the regions.
Abrams locks in. And what do we close it out with, boys? Does a pocket get played?
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I was going to bring up that, I know that you got tuned down a little bit, but Pocket's still quite good. Instead, it's Viper! So this is going to be the cool cheese hero in all likelihood. Like not cool cheese, but Scout. Scout is going to be rolling around on Viper. Because they don't have normal pick hero.
Wasn't Scout Sinclair last
True or false? Scout is going to buy an egg on Viper.
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Almost false. That is like one of the worst egg buyers. I mean, lore-wise, you really should. But honestly, I feel like Viper is one of the most reliant heroes on
Melee Creeps. You're up 1-0 in a best of 3.
Come on,
Scout,
buy eggs.
I'll throw down an extra 100 if you play Viper and buy an egg out of the gates. We'll get it done. On the other side, Floormen will lock in Paige. Let's keep it serious, ZP, because that's why the chat is here. They're here to learn, not be entertained. What did you learn from the Floormen's choice here?
Well, Floormen's choice, I mean, Paige being picked up makes all the sense in the world. Zeno had a very, very reliable Paige. I'm just wondering what's going on and who's playing what for melee creeps. Like, are we going back to the era where Ido, for example, would be an Abrams, or is this going to be the rare, like, Ido Viper? Because we got confirmation that it's not going to be Scout on the Viper. Because sometimes when you play Viper, you have the person that's your Paradox, Sinclair, or not Paradox, Holiday, Bebop player play the Viper because you can also roam. But it is going to be Scout on the Sinclair once again. So.
It really feels like it's going to be Ido on the Viper. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Based on, basically everyone, I mean, it's got to be Fishcake on the Abrams because he's played it so many times before. I mean, maybe
wait, he's played Viper. Fishcake has actually played
maybe
Viper.
It's Fishcake Viper and Ido back to the Abrams, which it's been a while since we've seen him on the Gubami, but I wouldn't be shocked by it. Abrams has become an indie hero pick now, so it's now acceptable for Ido to he's not playing into the S tier hero only allegations now that Abrams
He's no longer S tier, okay.
Not such a crazy dominant hero. I mean, I still think Abrams is quite good. I'm not surprised to see him getting play in the top level, but I mean, prior to the patch, he did take like 11 different nerfs in the patch just to bring him, back into line.
All right, let's go ahead and rank these. Last time we were dead wrong about the McGinnis, and then it seemed like things got balanced out as we got into the grand finals. ZP, who do you score and what do you grade them?
Oh, man. As I'm looking at this draft here, truthfully, I mean, I feel like Viper comps have the most volatility in the entire game. It could be Stompy, but I also think it opens the door for melee creeps to have some loss conditions here. I kind of like the Floormen comp more. I think it's hard to go wrong with Billy. AVG showed that Shiv can still be really strong. You've given Goober his ultimate comfort pick. Yeah, his namesake. Overall, I actually favor Floormen a bit of this draft.
Viscous world domination. I'm a Viscous spammer. I want to see this big dub for the little green guy. Melee creeps, they picked themselves a wild draft here. I mean, the finish with the Viper is certainly a choice. I mean, full confidence for them. But I agree, this is a huge risk. This hero introduces so many question marks. And in the late game, I honestly think this hero is a huge liability. You do crazy damage in theory with the maxed out Viper build, but ultimately, feels like more often than not, you just get locked down and bursted to death. And I think Visca is actually maybe one of the better heroes against Viper in the late game. You start punching her, she can't slide anymore. She can't really play her hero properly.
All right, we wrapped up that last game around 10:17. It is now 10:40. The players have had enough time to urinate. They're locked in. They're at their computers. They're almost ready to play, right, ZP?
God willing. I mean, look, everyone keeps calling for the return of Hydronation, but with the return of Hydronation comes great time for bathroom breaks. They are the team, without doubt, that has the smallest bladders in all of Deadlock. Usually, NA-wise, they get started pretty quickly. Apparently, we've heard from production we are waiting on one. So hopefully we'll be in soon for what could be the final map of the day, or it could be one of the longest days ever. It is a very, very long time since we've actually gone 8 here at the night shift.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember the last time we did. I mean, there's been a legacy of pure domination in both regions.
Yeah.
And it feels like these last few weeks have changed that narrative. And maybe there's going to be harder fought matches here for these champions going forward, as potentially we're already seeing the makings of that given, the performances in EU. And the way game 1 was, it certainly doesn't portend a really dominant beatdown from melee creeps here in game 2.
Chat, let us know. What do you think is the next level of evolution for Deadlock? I said we need 2 more teams in each region. We get Hydra Nation here in NA, And then who would be our next team, ZP? Is there anyone on the bubble? You know what? Hold that thought, because the game is ready. We have all 12 players at their computers ready to rock. Melee Creeps on match point. Floormen trying to force a game number 3. Lock in. It's your NA final here of episode 29.
So Jake, we did get the update from production. The last time we went to 8 maps in a night shift was night shift number 15 back on November 19th. It was right before everyone was getting some turkey in them.
Wow. Last year's Thanksgiving, huh? Well, we got some thanks to give for some competitive matches on tonight's shift. Melee Creeps gonna rip it in with the Viper. Full send. Feeling confident. I'm feeling less so. I mean, I think this is a scary one for sure. Especially given the lane they're up against. Page Billy does not set you up with any kind of an easy early game.
Keep the screen on fish cake. Thank you.
Bucket is here to judge the Viper, and I will say, I don't know if I love the side lane Viper. I feel like the times the Viper has been most effective is usually when it is the person that plays pick heroes on the team playing it, you bring it mid, and after 2 minutes or sometimes a little bit before, you go full homeless and start going to other lanes. Like, I still think Fishcake is going to be doing a bit of roaming here, but I don't know about the Viper Abrams lane. Like, I'm not saying it can't work. I'm just saying on paper, if you're to tell me you're playing a Viper lane, I wouldn't expect Viper Abrams side lane.
Yeah, Viper and Abrams definitely have their work cut out for them in this one. Feels like it's got to be maybe more defensively minded against Page Billy, but I mean, he's landed, I think, every single dagger so far in the lane. So that's going to go a long way to keeping that counter pressure on, and that's starting to bite on the Page.
These weren't the easiest dagger shots either. Fishcake making it look super clean here at the beginning. That being said, still backed up by Billy. Ido looking to get a little bit active. Quick little bash down into plot armor, where we can now say the name of that ability. Like, we haven't really talked about it too much, but I think we said defend and fight exactly 0 times. You don't like defend
and fight, ZP? Come on, that's such a rolls off the tongue.
I do not, in fact, want to go to Marvel Rivals tier names. All love to that game, but the names and stuff was a little bit long. Still, bit of a rush down here onto the Billy. A little bit weak to sense. The Lethal Venom is out. Ido right underneath. 9 HP and gone. That is a threat of a Viper in lane.
Man, Fishcake is executing this so well. He's kind of making a believer out of me, and that's a tall order for the early game Viper. Oh no, Ido? Wunkus looking like an Ido DC.
Tornado! It's Tornado!
Typically, we don't see Ido walking into corners. You're usually known for his movement skill.
Can we reflect on what the hell is wrong with Ido's PC setup? How does this man stream for a living, presumably has made enough off streaming to get a new PC, and continually has all sorts of PC problems? I feel like every other week you get a tweet from Ido going, guys, I looked into my PC and my eyes exploded everything inside. And also I tried to install a video card into my RAM slot. Please help. Like, I don't know. Ido's tech issues just defy explanation at this point.
Scout said he got a DM from an e-girl. He'll be back here in a little bit. Don't know if there's any truth to that from Scout. In the meantime, what is the official ruling for disconnects, bad-mannered pauses, and tactical delays, ZP?
I mean, there's no official rule one way or another as far
just
as
kindness is
whatever
king.
We say the official rule is, fuck it. That's the
I love being in charge. It's the best part of this job. Jake, everyone wants to know, is there an egg purchased yet? Can we do a 2-minute egg check?
All right, let's get a quick egg check. Get it out for the people. Maybe Zeno bought it this game. I think he did last game. No, he's going for the high velocity here. And honestly, this would be a bad lane, I think, to go for it in particular. Abrams and Viper putting a lot of pressure on. An egg has been purchased, and it's Ivy, which is kind of fitting. I feel like Ivy would nest on some eggs.
It's true.
Yeah. Egg has been a pretty popular buy. Also, this is never a good sign when the response is, what happened to Ido? We don't know. Wait, it's gotten better. Nah. He's still here. So we've upgraded a little bit.
Okay, maybe just Deadlock crash. Uh-oh. It's interesting. It must be a PC crash where it just shows him still in the call or something, because pretty sure he's not just sitting in silence while disconnected in the middle of a competitive match.
I mean, what if Ido spontaneously obtained enlightenment? Something about the Viper Abrams lane, and he just realized the truth of everything in life, and he's just sitting there, just seeing the mystery of the universe unfold. Okay, quote, apparently his stream crashed, so it was his whole PC.
Nice. In 8 hours, I have a flight to Miami. I'm taking the 6 a.m. out of Columbus, Ohio.
You gotta go to sleep.
Pro tips of where to eat.
Ooh.
Your boy is coming in hungry. I got 4 days off. I'm not working Call of Duty. I'm simply eating my way through South Beach.
That's right. We need the restaurant hookups. Drop them in chat. Also, Scout with the @CP. You are him. I will take all the props I can get.
It's true.
Thank you, Scout. As wait. We got an upside here. Ido
he's back.
has returned. He's back into the game.
Ido.
Generational dub.
We're finishing this match before midnight, ladies and gentlemen.
Need another re? Uh-oh, I don't like the sound of that. He's still not saying it. Oh my god, Ido. Help, guys, help. I'm actually glad we have the chat, though. It's like the live spec of the players figuring this out.
I'll say this.
Being egoed is egregious.
I think to certain esports productions and other games where all this stuff gets sanitized, and I understand. But on the other hand, seeing into the player comms is pretty damn entertaining.
Wait, we're good.
We're good. We're back in.
He's back. He's out of the corner, into the action, straight up to the high ground. I'm gonna grab some quick roof boxes here. Oh, tangling with the goo man though. Not making him, giving him these boxes for free, but in the end, Ido still claims his prize.
Just wants to do a little bit of box running and gets showered with goo. Just what happens. But all in all, they're able to put a little bit of pressure on the Billy Page lane as Billy is left in lane as Page goes for some ultra deep behind enemy or behind own lines. Box grabbing. A little bit passive so far in terms of rotations here, Jake. No one's gone for a gank here just yet, though. That could change at a moment's notice.
Yeah, I think this has kind of been the hallmark of the NA early game style is people are very reticent to actually commit for kills. You contrast this with like the way Taz was playing in EU, man, he was in there behind Guardians at 2 or 3 minutes, right? No question, with like one item up on Celeste. But in NA, I think people are a lot more conservative, a little bit more maybe respect for one another and not thinking those ganks are going to work out, just playing for the efficient economy style of making sure you get every single box that you possibly can.
Alrighty, so taking a look at things here, off in middle, John, for a little bit of Goober assault, but also on rotation. Scout coming back in, and Goober just saying, anyone who wants to cross the middle, you know, look out.
Expect to see a lot of rebuttals purchased on melee creeps so that you can actually punish Viscous for his puddle punches. Gives you a little bit more flexibility too if you do end up missing one of those parries. Curious to see maybe some of the action in the mid lane now, as I guess side lanes have been pretty hot. Although Page Billy, after they came back to that lane, they've more or less stabilized it. Like the lead is very small, nothing to write home about for Abrams and Viper, despite that early kill.
Right now, 4.5 minutes. Goober back into mid lane. John, for now, able to dodge most of the damage, hanging out. Rocker on the Mina. Okay, telekinesis dropped into fall through into the damage. DMB not able to get away. The new power of telekinesis as a gank tool.
Dude, the 4 cards just deleted him. I mean, he was full HP. That is an obscene gank. And a heavy melee of Risky gets absolutely parried and punished. Ido over the top. The RKO surely going to take Billy's head off. Waits for him to blow that stamina. The clean kill for Fishcake, and they get both in that lane. So across the map, wins here for the melee creeps, and the unconventional draft seems to be going well. Now, though, surely this is too much. The hard card for John actually keeps him up longer than you would expect into this one, and it's only the life buff that makes the difference for Goober to get that kill. I mean, with the different buff, he would have died there. And maybe he still will.
Still in danger.
Oh, no! Roll back. Wait. He's crazy for going back into that one.
I don't think that was intentional. I really don't think he was ridiculous enough to go, yeah, I'm going to go for some extra damage here. I think his ball was just a little bit too fat. He clipped the side of the slide, and he was like, well, I guess I'm committed to this now. So it cost him his life, in fact.
Happens to the best of us. But Ido getting more and more active. Early tempo fights, exactly what Abrams wants, and slowly developing now for melee creeps. Arguably, this is what they need to do with the early game, and hold on, League, that counter kill into Fishcake is going to be worth a lot now. Heavy melee swung from Ido, but no connection. Parry baited. Potential for a dive here, but you gotta be careful chasing down an Abrams behind tower. He's just so tanky, so much heals to be given.
All right. A little bit of a chase down. I mean, this is perhaps a little bit ambitious. The Viper drops the bullet towards the end. Zeno a little bit low, however, risky for Fishcake. Right into the weighing face abilities. DMB is able to pick off Scout. Is that your Domini? It absolutely was.
Yeah, no doubt some support from Viscous. Those puddle punches, right, pulling you out of position in the mid lane can be quite scary. John gonna have to hold this mid tower on his own for just a few more seconds as Scout comes back into this one, but he doesn't have ult, and tower's taking some pretty heavy pressure. Floormen, it's all they're gonna get for now, but both Ido and Do threatening a roam to this mid lane, so potentially a ton of pressure about to come down on Do's head. Or sorry, DMB's head.
DMB getting hit a little bit on the Vex. Here's Ido from behind, off the top rope into DMB. Is the fall through going to be there? Immediately Goober's there for the support, so not going to get too much off the Abrams engage. In fact, Goober would be a little bit frisky off the goo ball, as you know, DMB a little bit wounded, but not too much worse for the wear off the gank attempt.
Paige and Billy, though, not getting the contest that they were getting in that early game, and despite some of those nice starting kills that Fishcake got to get the lane rolling, now it's kind of become a source of power for the Floormen. They're even leaving the Billy alone in that lane to farm up while Paige gets active towards mid. Ido also looking to collapse on that fight, and the siege continues in the left lane. So a full press here from Floormen. They get one Guardian, maybe a second to go down quickly here. Team fight in the mid lane, though, and John finds DMB.
Rallying charge coming out towards the end. Ido out looking for blood. That punch gonna whiff. Still looking for Goober. That one gonna connect. Needs one more. Not quite there. Captivating Reed comes out, but not enough to save Goober. Ido's still gonna walk away from that.
Yeah, you give up 2 kills in exchange for the tower. The tower is nice. Oh, shotgun. Wait, pushes John into a desperate position. Put the project mind away. Gets him out of trouble back into his own jungle. Still, all these towers dropping. Still 3 healthy towers for the Floormen. Despite some kills going against them, the map is comfortable. Finding a kill into AVG would really mitigate some of that threat. And hold on, Saya went deep on this one with the ulti, but Goober's here to punish. The roll is good now. Do Shadow Transform over. Does get a parry on AVG, but it doesn't matter much with Zito and Goober running him down.
You just see the poetry in motion there is like, oh, you're in a tiny corridor. Goober's popped ball. You have no HP. Oh, I know where this one is going. Remarkably even game so far. Taking a look at who you want to have farm, though. John at 7K, DMB up to 8.2. Yep, small, but noticeable lead in terms of the Floormen M1 here, where Floormen would love to force a map 3.
See what Rocker can find, getting a little bit active in the mid. Playing tempo with this Mina. Has the Spirit Spike online, so she actually has a pretty meaningful amount of damage burst, especially paired with someone like Viscous. I could see a lot of potential early aggression from this lineup. For now, they're focused on farming up the map. Both teams are, but Floormen with 3 towers to defend. I mean, if they can hold on to these a bit longer, the map is going to feel a little bit claustrophobic for melee creeps. At the same time, there are prizes to be had in those Guardians. Shiv looking to take a fight now. Chases in onto Do. Grenade hits, but I think Do is just too clean with the movement. Is out of that one, and Floormen don't want to overchase.
Buffs are coming up. AVG looking to win the buff lottery. However, it's going to be contested. Saya at the Stoneform drags someone off the ledge. AVG gets the gun buff, though.
Some awkward movement there from AVG, but in the end, he just goes back to lane, keeps the push rolling. Saya, a tough Stoneform off the bridge there is not enough to get him out of dodge. DMB picks up that kill. Finding I believe his first kill of the series. Maybe he found one already this game. And Fishcake is going to be happy to maybe put some damage on the mid Guardian and bring it down with the help of Ido. But with an urn being run right now, you kind of have to take some kind of a fight, lest you give a bigger advantage over to the Floormen.
Pretty quick rotation here. John, though, ready to intercept. Telekinesis good to go. Seems a little bit rushed by Floormen here. Do they actually go for a dunk against melee creeps looking to contest? They're looking. Goober moving forward, a little bit of disruption. No, drops the urn in the back. Scout able to provide a little bit of disruption. Goober providing more room here off the Goo Ball. That's enough to actually get the turn in. They secure the kills afterwards, and Goober not done. Puts Ido in a bad spot. Ido having to go up and over, looking for a way out. Gets a little bit of peel from both the Viper and the Sinclair. But that is a full lost urn for melee creeps as Floormen extend the lead.
Floormen just rip all 6 ultis into that one, but hey, it's worth it. You create the space, you get the urn dunk. Melee creeps don't get any kind of consolation prize for that one. John just got so low, he had the fullback, had to take the reset into base. And we talked about there being maybe this worry about the late game viability of Viper. I will say this is a different build than I've seen in the past when we have seen Viper. Like, this is kind of playing for the late game carry Viper, actually, from Fishcake, which surprises me, but I will say the raw damage potential of Viper in the ultra late game, it might be one of the highest in the game. Question is, can you actually just slide around forever? Like, is that allowed in the late game, or do you just get CC'd and don't deal any damage? But theoretically, you have like infinite ammo, which is a massive boon to your raw DPS in Deadlock.
Also, speaking of infinite ammo, you know, Wraith just gets that, you know, as her final full auto nowadays. It's just like, you know, what's the fun in full auto if you have to worry about things like ammo? But onto the left-hand side we go. Melee creeps looking to take the Guardian, maybe get a little bit more. They get the Guardian. Now let's see about the more. Petrifying Bola dropped, and it is DMB in a world of hurt. Got hit with the kitchen sink, and not to be done here just yet. Goober gets taken for a ride here by Ido. AVG, though, in on the support. The knives start coming out. The damage starts ticking up, and Ido getting run over and stabbed at the same time.
Brutal place to be. A tough way to die. Some more pressure on the mid walker. And League and Rocker aren't going to back off from this one easily. They're going to commit for the finish here. Fishcake can't do much to dissuade them. They're going to try and chase down and maybe find some exit kills. League already low HP on the Billy. The lethal poison is going to hurt pretty hard, and the movement is impressive here from Fishcake, but look at that. The counter punch is brutal. Very little vitality investment in that one. A nice parry, but the cube response from Goober keeps Billy alive for a moment longer. That's all he's going to get. Comes out of the cube and just into instant death. And Saya still holding on to this egg, man. He's committed.
That is a long egg. That is, you know, that's an egg that's been incubated the entire way through. It's warm, it's toasty. It's ready to give a whole bunch of souls by the time it's finally hatched.
I mean, Ivy at one time was played as a carry. Of all the supports, I think she has like the best gun fighting tool. So probably one of the better users of those permanent buffs on the support role. However, that 10% damage, you know, I wonder, right, if some of these fights are not a little bit easier without it. Hard to say. We'll see what kind of reward he's able to get when he does cash in that egg.
Yeah, right now, souls to gain 1557. I don't think it auto updates, so you have to like go back over it. But yeah, quite a few souls stacked up for Mr. Saya. And frankly, at the state of the game right now, Jake, melee creeps gonna kind of need the bounty. Which is up to nearly 1,600. Oh, okay, the observer survey is like, all right, I'll just keep hover. Back,
you shouldn't have told them, ZB. You should not have told them. We're gonna be the chat's going to be asking us to check the egg every 30 seconds. Look at this little soul sniping from Saya. I mean, this is dirty, man. Like, you got to be careful making sure you get these last hits, because there's a lot of souls to be had. One of those souls in the finish is worth 170, so stealing the deny is a pretty big deal on the Sinners.
I think denying in general is something, when it comes to both Sinners and the Urn, is something people, especially in general games, don't realize. I mean, denying Sinners is something almost no one realizes, and even denying Urn, people don't realize that that's, you know, team-wide deny and team souls per each Urn. You know, you're not denying like 50 souls for yourself. It's 50 souls times your entire team per orb. So, quite a bit at stake.
Yeah, massive value to be had from those, and not just denying them from, or not just getting them for your team, but taking them away from the enemy is like double value. Both teams, though, content to play this one relatively slow. A 7k soul lead for the Floormen is enough to give them the space and confidence to get the Urn pickup. And I think they probably want to force a fight for the dunk. Question is really who's going to stick around in this right lane and hold it down. It could be Billy, but Billy, I mean, with this build, kind of wants to get into team fights. I don't know that he wants to play like slow and counter farm against John.
Floormen rotating the Urn around, gonna do a quick drop. Just a moment. Changing who's carrying the Urn. the AVG's burden to hold as they move along to the left-hand side. We'll see. In melee creeps, I think they're okay just stalling the urn and looking for Walker here on the right. Telekinesis comes out here from John, putting most of the damage into the Walker. John and Saya over, but now
he's getting bounced on.
He's getting bounced on. Actual bouncing from Goober into the hallway. John's in a world of hurt, just getting squashed.
Oh my goodness gracious. The full ball build. He got chain stun from full, was spamming Project Mine the entire time and could not get out.
Is there a better Viscous on the planet than Goober?
Maybe not. Also, you know, I played through Super Mario RPG recently, the remake, and yeah, that was some super jump up to like, 20 times in a row stuff in from Goober. Good lord.
You get caught in a small room, man. You are not gonna like the outcomes, and now, I mean, that is scary. What the hell are you gonna do about this one, man? He's going boundless next item? Okay, that's a little bit wild. Goes for the CD first, which gives him some more uptime. I wonder if he's not gonna maybe invest into ball, because that max ball, the stun duration is very significant. Definitely has a more of an all-around build so far.
Going to shop. I see Viper.
Floormen looking to maintain their lead and, getting last turn turn in, even at the cost of Walker, getting some kills on the back end. Reasonable. Still looking for the game-winning play, however. And also, I mean, there's threats they have to worry about. And truthfully, after seeing the last game, I'm almost more afraid of late game Do than late game John.
Yeah, he's proven himself adept, I think, at utilizing some of those farm in the difficult scenarios. They're getting some nice mid clear. Checking out some of the item pickups here. Xeno has Rescue Beam and Knockdown, so a little bit of offense, a little bit of defense. John, all 3 investment spikes online for the Wraith. Probably still wants to farm quite a bit more before he's really feeling confident and comfortable getting into engagements, but it's kind of that moment where Wraith starts to be more relevant, and the souls still stacking up for Saya. So kind of subtract 2,000 souls from the lead in your head here.
A little bit tense between both teams. Gotta love a little bit of the Sinclair movement.
That's nice.
Wait, was that all that movement and Spectral Assistant just to go in and nab a T3?
Nice. Stealing resources away, man. The jungle is empty, like both teams. As we take a quick look at an instant replay here of from Goober's POV, the way he's, look at this.
Oh,
man.
God.
Wait, this is stylish, man. He's just, and the way he maintains it after knocking her into corridor. I mean, this is experience right here on display. I mean, that's disgusting. Hold on, fight breaks out. AVG gets initiated on, but with the Arctic Blast, makes Ido think a little bit more carefully about committing for that kill. And I believe the rescue beam from Xeno ensured that there was never a real danger on Shiv's life.
Also, looking at builds here. Dispel Magic, of course, has come more into the fray per the item stats. More people buying it just off its recent changes. Ido being one of those.
There's a roll somewhere. Yeah, it's on the scout. Lockdown, deleted by Goober on a streak here. Making melee creeps maybe regret not banning out this hero.
Yep. They're just like, what do you mean there's 2 different heroes we have to worry about? Not just Viscous, or, they didn't like playing against the McGinnis. They might dislike playing against the Viscous even more the way this one has gone. Although, it's kind of interesting, Jake. Even though Floormen have had so many good engagements, it's still a less than 10k lead. It's a lead, but it is not what you would expect. So what you have to take from this is melee creeps have still been really efficient at taking their jungle, getting objectives on the map, even with some of the better skirmishing that we've been seeing out of the Floormen.
Buffs are up. Looks like it's a 1-1 split. A gun buff for Billy. I didn't see what Ido grabbed on the other side.
Can we get an egg check? Is Saya...
I still have it.
Yeah, chat was given a big thank you. We have an observer who is particularly focused on the eggs. We love you. Thank you. Keep it up.
Permanent egg cam. I mean, honestly, for Ivy, like in a game this slow paced, there's kind of no downside. He's not really fighting, so why not bank up some souls on the egg?
But we're gonna go, wow, how'd they cut the lead? It's just gonna, camera the Saya breaking open the best egg you've ever seen. But quick charge from John, and an even quicker retreat from League.
Surely don't give a free dunk, though. The urns are very valuable at this point. Goober going for another roll. This time, oh no, no way. He's gonna do it again. Illegal to do it again. He's rabbit hexed in the goo ball, I think, right now. I don't know that it really does anything. John has to back off from that one, and the threat of the goo ball is just too much. They give up another earned dunk for free. Look at that mobility with the help of the puddle punch, man. The fact that you naturally can use your skills in goo ball is a crazy buff on this hero. And then nuking from that first skill is also powerful, man. Splatter, no joke.
Is doing trouble here. Dude's at low HP, and you got Goober coming in like the angel of death. If DMB doesn't do it alone, power slash in, and yeah, DMB's enough to handle it. Yes, Walker was given up for it. So for melee creeps, you get a macro objective. But in return, do you give up mid boss? That's a long death timer for Jake. And Floormen would love to trade Walker for mid boss, if at all possible.
Rabbit Hex harassment, as well as some of those bolts coming in from Sinclair, making this one a little bit awkward. Melee creeps still have 5 players who could come and defend this. But with the page hold online for Xeno, advantage for sure favoring the Floormen on this contest. Goober also close to that roll. Stolen Billy Chain on Sinclair is a little bit awkward as Midboss starting to get low. He goes in, big pull. Does he have the Rabbit Hex follow up on enough players? Melee creeps take the nukes of hell from Goober. John pulled to 0, I think, by Viscous. Almost alone there. Saya down, Scout soon to follow potentially on just a sliver of HP, and this ball, you cannot fight into it, the Goober.
Goober is just getting unreasonable amounts of control over these fights. Gooball dominating the mid-boss fight. A full 3 rejuvenates the Floormen. And I gotta tell you, Jake, do you believe in map 3s? We may be about to live in one. Ido comes in for a last-second contest. Can't even get one of the rejuves out. Instead, it's his own death as AVG's bleeding, but he's not broken.
What an insane cube on AVG. That like only cube of any skill in the game could have possibly saved AVG because it prevents you from taking the bloodletting damage that ticks onto you while you're in the cube form. So insane save, fortitude, gonna get AVG right back up to full. I mean, that is a very nice team fight win. And I mean, okay, I'm starting to feel like this Viscous might be a problem for the melee creeps, right? You die individually on the side lanes, you're dying in the team fight. John got deleted by the ball in that fight. He just got completely dominated in the small room, and Wraith is gonna have to be so scared of coming into these team fights. He hasn't really been able to deal damage.
We gotta say, Goober is inspiring, and to quote DPRK from the chat, damn it, now I gotta learn this fuck-ass hero.
Also, the egg has been transformed into a new pair of drums. Ivy pawned the egg off at Guitar Center, came away with healing tempo.
Worth?
Does Guitar Center even still exist, or did they go out of business? I don't know if I just dated myself.
I'm pretty sure it still exists. I mean, healing tempo is a nice item to have, and if he's got the max link, it's more or less going to give permanent healing tempo to his ally, which, I mean, this is the true hardcore support Ivy potential, right? Rather than going for the stun maxing build, this build is all about turning John into the hyper carry of all hyper carries. Like, he's going to have giga buffs 24/7. DMB gets caught from an Ido charge, but the shotgun pushes Ido back. Goober also thinking of taking a fight. Puddle Punch is going to pull him out of trouble potentially, and he should be able to TP pretty safely. And the cue ball, hold on.
Wait, you're chasing. Why are you chasing?
Do you want to fight in here? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? He's in the cube.
Wait,
and the ball at the same time.
Melee's him in the cube. The ball is still rolling away. Goober's able to find a way out of it, and I mean, he turned into air hockey for a moment, and you know, all in all, the pick does not come through.
Dude, Diviner's Barrier, if he gets Diviner's Barrier in extended duration, the stun on the ulti is going to be heinous. I mean, this is going to look disgusting on the team fights with that level of duration. And I mean, a couple more camps, he's going to get there. Not to mention the raw tankiness and the damage that ball's going to deal. So, I mean, there's a serious nuking threat from the Viscous on top of the disruption he gives. It's pretty unique value in the team fight. Love this safe position from Xeno, covering the buff as it spawns.
Decides to take it for himself. Also, I think one thing we haven't really talked about here, Jake, that makes things tougher for melee creeps, not only are they down 20k, but Viper isn't really a late game hero the way she's played in comp. Like, you would have wanted to get your value from Viper by now, and she's not the hero you want when you're trying to come back in. So being down 20k, still 3 rejuves left to go, still likely going to be used on this urn. I mean, melee creeps are running out of real ways to get back into this game. I think we really are looking at map 3.
I gotta say, Gooball's up. It's not looking good. Although Sinclair would love to maybe snatch the urn away. Xeno wisely backs off from that one. And Gooball's in. He's rolling on him. He's rolling on him. The Rabbit Hex ignored, disrespected. Billy continuing to push for more. Rocker with the silence, knocks Nostra over the top. Hold on, I believe misses. The healing tempo getting some nice value, but it's just not even close to enough. Goober styling on them now with the 5 streak. And the rest of the melee creeps have to turn tail and run back to the base. No chance to defend the urn. Do the one man standing outside the base, not long for this world. And even as the triple rejuves look to expire, I mean, Floormen have shown incredible dominance with this draft. The Viscous pick has made all the difference.
Yeah, honestly, people are wondering, well, gee, against Floormen, why are people first banning Viscous all day? You now have your answer. I think League is going to get to play McGinnis sooner rather than later. Should Floormen survive this game and bring us to a map 3, because there's no way in hell melee creeps want to deal with this again. This has been the Goober show.
And Goober waiting 15 seconds without the goo ball, so he's kind of lacking one of his most powerful tools. Here comes the rallying charge from Page. A second one follows up over the top. Ido getting low on the Abrams. Blink out from John, but 5 seconds for the goo ball. This one could get dire. League does drop. Melee creeps, can they get out of this one? Secure with the kills that they found so far, but not even close, man. The bleed is good. The execute comes in. A stolen goo ball. Battle of the goo balls here in the mid lane. Goober turns, looking for other kills. Players who are caught out a little bit more aggressively. Scout trying to counter roll in, but his is starting to expire as we get the picture in picture of the double goo ball. The bumper cars in the mid lane. I think.
Oh, wait, John just got run over again. Goober continues to go after John like a heat-seeking missile. The ball finally goes away, but now he's in Viper's face. Cube canceled. Fishcake low on HP. Here comes a splatter. A puddle punch ready to go directly to the back of Viper.
Oh, clean.
One from below, and wait, Fishcake's still alive.
Really?
Oh, wait.
Okay. Fishcake had enough tankiness to get out of that one, and I think this Mystic Reaper maybe kills Goober. Oh, just barely not. I think Dude was hoping that that would be enough for the finishing blow. So a wild team fight, one that actually looks better than most that we've seen for melee creep. So they're still right back in this one, despite the difficulty that Jay showed there. And mid boss spawning in just over a minute here. So still more to play for. Melee creeps aren't out of this one yet. And remember, up 1-0 in the series. One big slip up here from Floormen that yields the advantage back. The series could be over.
Still a long way to go for melee creeps. It would have been better, of course, if that last fight could have happened when mid boss was up. But also, I don't know if Floormen take a fight that wild with the threat of a bad fight ending in mid boss. So 1 minute, and for Floormen, it's just okay. You need to generate a pick, and after generating a pick, you go mid boss. I mean, it's kind of Deadlock 101. And once more, you're going to be looking to Goober to make some of this magic happen.
Yeah, I wonder if we might not see something like a Phantom Strike with this build, giving you that secure triple stun lockdown on somebody like John. I mean, I don't know how you play Wraith into that, right? Phantom Strike in, Warpstone back on for the second follow-up stun, and then another. I mean, you need some sort of external save to break the combo, or else John's just going to be dead.
Chad has finally caught up to the multi-ball production. That, honestly, one of the most well-earned production W's I've seen in a while, but Jake, this is the calm before the storm at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Shiv also kind of a menace right now. Let's see what the buy is. I have no, maybe it's just a boundless here. Straight up, you already have double armor. You already have some insane tankiness and so many knives to play with in a team fight. A lot of
Jake, you're our
tools.
CFO. Can we just hire an editor for a Goober montage from this game? Is this the best Viscous performance? Let's get us 1 million views on YouTube.
You might be onto something, Puckett. I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna say no.
How many times have you seen 2 balls bouncing on each other? Don't answer that.
Not
as your lawyer.
My lawyer has told me I'm not gonna answer that one. As
well, hey,
the nuclear bomb. Oh, the
John.
Phantom Strike, the knockdown. They're gonna go on this guy, even though he's flying through the fight.
Trying to make something happen. Saya brought John for the ride, but it's not quite the time for the full engage just yet. Buff spawned, 30 minutes, mid-boss at stake. If Floormen can generate another pick-off here, they'll be well on their way to forcing a map 3.
Slur pickup attempted, but the puddle punch is good. Knocks it out of Fishcake's hands. Fishcake could find himself in a tough spot. Maybe initiations, though, coming in from melee creeps, battling back into this one. Goober doesn't have the ball for this fight, so you're down one of your key team fighting tools, but melee creeps still getting pushed back.
It's going to be up later in the fight, potentially, but Floormen looking to prevent the comeback urn. Close quarters, this is where AVG would love to thrive. Slice and dice. Comes on out, moves on in, gets turned into a rabbit, but still good HP. Working into the back, gets hit with the telekinesis. It's a get off me throw from John. Do rather is so low in the back of the fight. The airdrop comes in. It's gonna get rid of John. But overall, that is the double pick Floormen are looking for. They're gonna go in to mid boss now. And we'll see if Melee Creeps has anything left in the tank. I don't know why I said do twice in a row, but that's just how it is, Jake.
Dude, AVG is unholy tankiness right there. Dude, what the hell was that? He was like full frontlining into lockdown and just was not losing HP. The double armor, like restoration on Shiv. Look at him. He's just frontlining in the door here, daring people to come challenge him in the staircase. Willing to take that fight. And this is a meaningful position because if you can't walk up these stairs, if you can't push past AVG, you're not going to be able to challenge for the reju. And I think that may be the case. Big warp stone. Is it enough for the parries? Not even close. I mean, good attempt from Scout with the Rabbit Hex, but there's too many counter spells to let that one through, and Xeno with the rallying charge just secures it. Melee Creeps should be full routed as 6 here. Maybe Scout can get out back to the base, but you gotta imagine we're looking down the barrel of a game 3. I mean, even as well as Melee Creeps have played in tough scenarios, this is about as bad as it's been.
The comeback potential here is just about nil. Another urn gonna be dunked in favor of Floormen. 3 rejuves left to go and a base ready for the attention of the Floormen. And what has been a masterclass, both Shiv and Viscous game coming out from the Floormen. Man, oh man, Jake. The longest day of Deadlock we've had in quite a while, but you cannot complain about the quality of games.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, DMB using the power of the rejuve to just clear out this mid base guardian. It's going to spawn that extra wave of creeps, continue the push, and with Melee Creeps down 3, they have no real possibility to attempt any kind of counterpunch. They're going to lose all sets of base guardians. There's going to be a monster swell of creeps pushing down every single lane. And that's the scenario you respawn into here on Melee Creeps as they looked for this defense. For now, Floormen, though, I think they want to back off. Everyone probably with huge banks of souls after that team fight. They want to get some buys off.
Ready to slay the wicked.
Oh, lightning scroll is dirty. That's going to be a crazy amount of control in the team fights. 2 rallying charge back to back, both stunning initially, then the follow-up lightning scroll stun. I mean, that is going to really hurt.
I see Viper.
Look, it's about time Merlin finally blessed the Knights as they head on out. You got all this Camelot lore, you know. Merlin can at least do something, and wait, is Idol caught? Gets stuck in the middle of the lane. Should be able to get away, but the pressure that Floormen is applying right now, coming in from all sides. Still 3 rejuves, still half the time left on the rejuves, Jake, and right now threatening for a little bit of pressure onto the shrines, but they're probably gonna wait for DMB. Like, they need this wave to get fixed.
Yeah, they need the waves in pretty bad. Right wave is actually pretty problematic right now for the Floormen. They're just gonna go for it with 1 wave down mid and DMB fixing the second, but to your point, they're playing this one very cautiously. They don't want to overextend before DMB is here and ready to team fight. But they really do want to start dropping these shrines. Opening up the super creeps would go a long way. Billy thinking about trying to find a chain here, but does not want to find himself getting like Abram charged into the spawn, right? That's how you kind of throw away rejuves and really turn this fight bad. 1 shrine drops. And despite the waves crashing against your base, I think you are going to get a double shrine here. Will Melee Creeps be able to find the defense? Here's the Nox Nostra. Keeping the silence here on to do. So far, he's not been able to pop that ultimate. Goober's deep in the base now on the goo ball. Huge disruption, and John just cannot. He can't play the game, ZP.
John's like, surely I'm safe in my own fountain. Nope, Goober once more on the hunt. Your latest DBD killer now in Deadlock. Good Lord, just
he's going in for more.
A massive goo cannot be satiated. This time for Fish Cake brings him on a ride. First stage patron about to go down. The Archmother in some real pain as Floormen look to force a map 3.
And still with the triple rejuve for a few more seconds. I think this might be enough time for them to force a finish to the game here. Rocker willing to use those rejuves. However, the rest of Melee Creeps are healthy. I think this one could go wrong with the rejuves starting to tick out. That being said, you got to get in there. You have to defend the patron. Here comes that rallying charge. Lightning scrolls from that, adding into the lockdown as the rest of Floormen go way past the throne here, attacking into the enemy fountain, denying the players their opportunity to make this defense. John, surely with the heal in the fountain and the turrets behind him, it'll be enough to take down AVG, but zoned into the base, he just can't get out for the defense.
Good fight.
Map 3.
Good game.
That's a crazy one, man. And honestly, I feel like that's like just like you were saying, that Goober and AVG, man, incredible masterclass. Shiv, bonkers game, ridiculously tanky, looks as good as Shiv has ever looked, frankly. And the Viscous, I mean, this is a new style. I haven't even seen this build before. This is a nasty build. Beautiful piloting of the ball from Goober. And the team fights when this ult comes out feel impossible. The one fight that was close was the fight that Scout stole the Goo Ball. But ultimately, the Goober's build, I mean, it's just so potent in those engagements. Like, you're just losing your base while he rolls around in your fountain.
I don't even think we saw the Mina in that game. Goober and AVG taking over for the Floormen. Melee creeps handed an L, and now we're understanding why the Viscous is the first ban from melee creeps every single game. ZP, chat made a great point. So if you don't ban Viscous, you give them the McGinnis, right?
Yes, you have to pick your poison. You are either dealing with Goober bouncing on you all game, which John probably does not want to happen anytime next century, or you're dealing with League on the McGinnis. You cannot ban both. Pure and simple.
People have kind of been, I mean, I think this was from Melee Creeps. They talked about how they can just ban out Goober and attack his hero pool. Now we're seeing the flip side of that. He's like one of the only players who I think genuinely threatens this Viscous and forces you now to waste bans on something that, like, he did very well in the Paradox in the first game. Like, I think he had top damage on the team. I mean, it was a strong game from him, even though they lost. So even if you do ban the Viscous, I don't know that you're really gimping Goober that much. And, you know, this is a scare one. To be honest, though, after this game, I feel like you have to ban Viscous. Like, you just, you cannot team fight into that thing.
I think we should probably just end the stream right here. I don't think anyone needs a game 3. Let's just watch the Goober highlights. We start off with a Viper. Everyone was excited about it. Haven't seen a Viper since November. There's reasons for that. Fishcake did not have the best time. Did he have the worst time, though? Is there hope for Viper in the future, Jake?
I mean, I think there were moments. The very early game was nice, but I just don't believe in this hero and high-level play. I just feel the late game is too weak, too much of a liability, and it almost tells the other team, hey, all you have to do is like survive to 30 minutes at equal net worth, and you'll probably just start crushing us in the fights. I just think this hero's too vulnerable to lockdown and control. I think he may have even gone unstoppable this game on the Viper, but I just don't see the value. You compare that to some of the other alternatives. Honestly, Viscous is like a reasonable comparison against Viper in terms of giving a lot of early game nuking, having crazy mobility, but just with a much better late game team fight scale.
Is Goober's Viscous and AVG's Shiv better than the Shiv Kelvin combo from EU, ZP?
Better than old school Shiv Kelvin. Nothing beats that level of combo. I mean, old school Shiv Kelvin was the Thanos of Deadlock that ran so many games in comp that it almost befuddled the mind that people were giving it up past the last few weeks. But in this case, still looked pretty good on individual performances. I mean, AVG looked dominating, more so than we've seen him in a long time, both this game and the last. Also, you know, while for game 1 was a little bit slow, DMB, much better game this time around for the Floormen. And I mean, hey, when you got a Goo Ball making all the space in the world, you don't have to worry about John dropping telekinesis on you when he's stuck in the middle of stun with a Goo Ball over his face.
Sure, yeah, chat. My comments are off limits, but you guys can keep saying bouncing on it over and over again. DMB with a bounce back game. Jake, let's take a look at this, man. Kicked off the team, drops 10 kills, 51,000 player damage. Do we see the Priest again in a game 3? I don't think he's getting banned out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's been so many of these like top prio bans. I mean, in this series in particular, Viscous and McGinnis, also things like the Mo. And so often I think Venator just makes it through. I also think this game, I mean, not only is he, you know, performing well in the team fights, doing his job as a carry, but also winning some 1v1s on the side lanes, right? Punishing Do in moments there. So very strong performance for DMB. I don't think his game 1 was bad at all. And it's good to see him getting a nice win under his belt, evening up the score 1-1, keeping the revenge dream alive here. Would love to be able to upset his former teammates in the Melee games.
We haven't had an 8-game night shift in quite a while. That's when we have 2 best of 3s going the distance. We already had 1. Second one is loading up right now. ZP, do we finish before 1 a.m. Eastern?
The way it's going right now, probably. I don't think the players will take that long. We're going to need more tornado DCs to push us over 1 a.m. Eastern. But getting to midnight, a little bit more doable, especially because we weren't planning on doing the graveyard shift. We'll have to ask the players here. That was kind of set in stone before the long day.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to cancel that one on behalf of everyone working behind the scenes. I do want to say, chat, I would love to hang out the rest of the night, but my wife just landed at the airport 5 minutes ago. I'm already late. So I'm bouncing during the commercial break. We're closing the show with Jake and ZP. Much love, everybody. Enjoy Game 3.
It's nearly midnight, but this is a night shift, and we're living up to the name quite literally. Just can't stop bouncing. ZP here with Jake. And Jake, this is now going to be the end to what has been an enormously fun night of Deadlock. 8 maps between the both regions. This is the maximum amount of Deadlock you can get in one day here on the night shift.
It's the closest we've ever seen it here on DLNS, and at a fitting moment for the game to be at its peak of its popularity in recent memory, at peak of new content, and awesome to see the players stepping up to the plate to deliver some epic matches. I have no idea who's going to win this one, ZP. I mean, maybe you could argue that Floormen have shown better fight overall in the series, with Game 1 being absolutely down to the wire and Game 2 being a much more comfortable victory for the Floormen. But nothing is off the table when it comes to the melee creeps. I mean, their long-term success, they've been able to bring back difficult series in the past, and there's no reason they can't do it again here.
Also, while we're waiting for the draft here, let's just take a look back at the bracket of the day, the really hammer home what a ridiculous day it has been. Taking a look at it, Abrahams, they get through low-key W, but they go into Leviathan, and Leviathan, they win back-to-back. They proved that last week's win was not a fluke. They were taken to the limit by Abrahams, but they defend their newly acquired title. Then we get into the NA Challengers match. Floormen get through Bird with Clock, and we are now 1-1 in our NA Finals match. And again, what has been a momentous day of Deadlock.
Whew, man. And Bird with Clock are probably going to be sweating the fact that they weren't the ones to get here. But Floormen, well deserved, it seems. Like they've been, I mean, for time and time again, they've been able to beat Bird with Clock, get to the finals, and then have been kind of clapped back, and it really hasn't been that close. Finally, now the patch shakes the game up, and they're seizing their opportunity with the playing field leveled somewhat. AVG, huge games on the Shiv, and melee creeps just say, we're done. We want to get off Mr. Goober's wild ride, and honestly, I cannot blame them for it.
So I was speaking a little bit definitively, which production called me on my BS. Technically, melee creeps could first pick McGinnis here to deny both. I think that would be foolish if they weren't already planning on playing McGinnis. I don't think taking away that from the opponent if you weren't coming in ready to play it is the right move. In theory, they could deny the McGinnis. They've already lost the Ivy support-wise. I think here for your first pick, you probably just go Billy. It is the safest thing to do, but they go McGinnis, so oh my word, Jake. I don't know if this was Melee Creep's plan coming in, but they decided it was too good. They don't want to deal with either Viscus or McGinnis, and this was the only play they had to do with.
I don't hate it.
What are we standing around
I mean,
for?
it has been very good. I would love to see Floormen, though, doing kind of what I believe it was Abrams. They ran on like a Kelvin draft against this, and they kind of mitigated it, just having like the Thunderdome of the Kelvin. McGinnis rips ult, you rip the Kelvin Dome, kill somebody off. McGinnis is isolated away from the team fight, and there's real win cons there.
I got your back.
They get the Mo and Krill, though, which, by the way, has Mo and Krill been permabanned all day long? Is this the first time he's made it past the ban phase? Like, truly?
It is, and that is scary because here's the problem. Floormen terrorized melee creeps so damn hard in the last match, the last 2 matches, that they forgot about Ido's fear of Mo and Krill. So now, after all the, like, melee creeps could be slain once more by the Mo and Krill. That is now the opportunity that is here.
I mean, I like that melee creeps grabbed the Kelvin away, because I think if you get Kelvin and Mo, you are in an absolute world of hurt. However, the melee creeps draft feels a little disconnected right now. Feels a little awkward. They've got some good control. Hope to get ZP back soon. But
wait, I left now. Wait, what in the world?
We lost your cam, so it would seem. So luckily you're still here. Floormen, though, we're going to respond with the Sinclair. I actually love the Sinclair at this moment. You have insane steals so far. I mean, Kelvin Dome and McGinnis ulti, we've seen how powerful these steals can be. These are some of the best in the game from an ulti snatching perspective, and curious to see if it won't be someone like Goober on the Sinclair this game.
All right, so Paradox Ban comes in from Floormen, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what Goober ends up playing here. As I hope whatever's going on with my internet fixes itself. I think it's internet. My PC doesn't seem to be lagging, but I like this a lot more from melee creeps, though. The sense that like they're able to pick up the Ven. I don't love John on the Wraith, and self-admittedly, John has had to pick up Wraith as a freshly minted character. This time around, they could have picked the Wraith, and they just decide, you know what? No. We are going to go with the Venator, and John now gets to pick something he's way more comfortable with on the whole.
The city could use some new blood.
Shout out to Wenaf with the Prime. Big love to all the folks in the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat here. A lot of donations today, tons of subs, YouTube memberships, Patreon members coming in. I mean, in the end, this is a community-run show, guys. Like, we put this on with y'all's help and y'all's donations. Hopefully, we'll be able to bring in some sponsor money and, like, elevate things, offer bigger prize pools. But it's been incredible to see the show develop to what it is. And a lot of that comes from y'all's support. So I just want to show some love now to the chat on this epically long day of Deadlock. One of the longest we've ever had here on the night shift.
I have a confession. I'll just say this to Prod here and the audience at the same time. In closing down Windows, in case I was lagging, I may have closed down the browser that was also giving my camera. So that would also, I'm wondering, it's like, well, is the cam going back? I don't think I'm lagging or anything anymore. Well, yeah, but actually reconnecting to the thing that takes the camera source may have been helpful. Whoopsie, but yeah, Geist comes in, Floormen, support-wise, able to go back to
Geist
Page.
and Venator. So they're going for like sort of this double carry look. I mean, I think Do on the Geist is something that it's sort of analogous to the Yamato, like, more of a frontliner type carry, but pretty terrifying late game. They also get the Kelvin and the Silver, and Floormen go back to the well with a Warden. Is this an AVG Warden, an iconic classic Warden? I believe untouched all day today.
Yeah, for good reason. I don't think Warden's very good right now. I think all my Floormen hype just evaporated instantaneously here, Jake. I don't. Also, things like the Shiv were still available. I get that maybe they weren't going for it, and also, I mean, it's probably DMB.
Shiv.
Well, actually, it's.
Yeah, it must be DMB Warden, right?
Yeah, it's probably DMB Warden. This was the DMB hero, and it said you're gonna get AVG on the Billy, probably.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I kind of, in theory, I mean, like, Warden arguably has been nerfed pretty hard, but maybe there's a different build that you're able to go for. I kind of like Warden in theory into this like idea of the Kelvin draft, because in theory with a maxed out Warden ulti, you might be able to turn something like a fight inside the Kelvin dome, getting that unstoppable on the ulti in the massive amount of resist it gives you when it's maxed out. I mean, that's deeper into the game, but if this is a Warden that's getting full farm, we probably do get to that point in the game where you really have like all of your boons leveled up to the max. Maybe the silence on that trap could come into play. So Warden getting some big changes in this patch. Very curious to follow along with the build and see what the approach is here from the pros.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love it as a final pick when you need it at M1, which kind of shows, like, but by the way, I'm double checking here. Wraith was neither picked nor banned this entire game.
They don't want the Wraith. I kind of agree, though. I think Kelvin kind of counters Wraith, honestly, in this draft. I feel like the dome either isolating you out of the fight or like trapping you in. Either one of those is a death sentence for Wraith. Either you're trapped out of the fight and your teammates are dead before you can participate. Warden can actually play enough in the front lane where, yeah, he might get domed, but maybe there's a chance that you're running in with your Mo and your Billy. You can fight it out in the dome. Like, it's not a foregone conclusion that you're going to lose that fight, even against characters as powerful as Silver inside.
Well, as I look at it here, if I had to say which of the two teams is going to win here, on one hand, maybe I'm underestimating the Mo. Mo is an incredible force multiplier, especially thinking back to the weekend. I kind of like the melee creeps draft more. A big question mark to me, though, is are they going to get enough out of McGinnis? Is Fishcake going to play a McGinnis at the same level that League was playing earlier? I think that's a big question mark, especially if McGinnis was not their plan coming in.
I mean, vibes-wise, it does feel like a Fishcake hero, right? Like, so I kind of have faith that he's going to be able to pilot it well, especially the way this build is going with, like, the ulti build. Like, I don't hate the concept here for the Fishcake.
I'm willing to be wrong on the Warden also, but I feel like the last pick, Warden Floormen, a little bit on the weak side, as Mo's just shrugging off these McGinnis bullets here so far. Doesn't really care, drops the score, and says, my suit is actually bulletproof.
This is a demonic lane, man. Mo, Page, like, good luck killing anything into this one. I think this is kind of a survive lane from McGinnis and Silver.
It's so funny how one patch changes Mo from Mo being the quintessential, hey, I'm just here to survive character to, no, I am the final boss of the lane, the character.
I want to give some love to some of the co-streamers sticking with us here deep into the night. Deathy, big shout out, longtime supporter, friend of the show. Crayon, still trucking with us this deep into the match. By the way, first blood, Saya goes down, a bit uncharacteristic. There's very low players across the board though, and the trades come thick and fast.
AVG League both going down as Saya does. And, you know, it's getting late into the night. It's game 3. This could be one of those scrappier games. I think it's been a while since we had a true NA burger box, and I'm not saying we're heading there, but...
I like where your head's at, ZP. I'm down for a little bit of a burger box mania here. See who can come out on top. This time it's Scout on the Abrams. Ido on the Silver. I will say I think Ido on the Silver is a match made in heaven, right? A character that really relies on movement tech. A lot of individual skill expression. Arguably one of the most important aiming heroes in the entire game with how crucial it is to connect with all your shots from the slam fire.
And I was kind of surprised when Melee Creeps didn't bust out the Silver during day 2 of Freak Fest, because in scrims, Ido's looked really good at. I mean, Ido gets enormous value out of normal Silver form. Like, not... I think the best commentary in Silver is that this is not a good hero unless you get massive value out of both forms. You can't just be like, oh, I wait for ult and go in. Not gonna work. But Ido gets serious damage out of Silver in her human form.
I mean, the bullet shot is a very powerful lockdown skill, right? Denying the ability to jump, even for a little bit, is pretty massive at this level of play with how important mobility and movement are.
I see Sinclair.
Also, a little bit of a roam, potentially from Scout. Damage. Coming in onto the Mo.
Goose egg purchased. Fans rejoice, and he hasn't bought any other items yet. What is the build? What is he saving for on Xeno?
Imagine if they made it the one item you could buy multiple of. You just like, yeah, I'm just going to start with a dozen eggs.
I'm going to get 10 eggs. I do 0% damage now. Good luck, team. I'm going to be AFK.
I am a support.
Yeah, I'm like an economy investment. I'm in like your expansion in StarCraft, man. I'm an SCV, not a Marine.
I'm an SCV. Also, that's a Mo that a little bit trapped by McGinnis wall, down to half HP, but you know, just one scorn away, and turning things back around. Going for a little bit by Ido. The scorn actually didn't connect it. Now Mo a little bit vulnerable. Ido noticing it, goes for the bullet shot, forces the burrow. And
Guardian
still a tough kill
to be purchased here by Page, and that's going to add on to the pressure, allowing League to maybe get his health back up. Again, is going for a little bit of extra gun damage, but Fistcake wants to put some pressure down on the tower early.
I think one thing to really keep a keen eye on here is DMB, where Warden has always been a pretty hungry hero for farm. With his gun scaling being even worse, I think Warden is now just one of the hungriest heroes for farm in the game if he wants to have an impact on the game. Like, you cannot be a broke Warden and actually expect to do anything.
It's a movement buff Silver, like behind the Floormen Walker. Bit of an odd position here. Finding anything just yet, threatening some ganks on other lanes. Scout also thinking about maybe getting active onto this Mo. But combo is online, so not that there's much damage to fall behind it with the golden goose egg Page. It could be worrisome if you get comboed under tower.
It got nerfed a little bit, but this is where Mo just kind of proudly states, I have my own follow-up, as it were.
Yeah, but you're not solo killing with that. Okay, the pin comes in, but yeah, that doesn't really deal damage to League as he gets that shield from Page. Heavy barrage coming in from McGinnis, but good positioning from League. Just evades all the damage, pros away, and the HP bar is not dropping, ZP. This Mo is something different.
There's a lot of damage heading in the general vicinity of Mo. Not much of the damage was actually landing as it came out. Now it may be a little bit closer to the combo time. We'll see. No help in the area, though.
I do like
endeavor.
Scout has come into this lane because at least with the stun from the pin, there is a punish if you do go for that kill on McGinnis. You can get pinned under tower. However, if the damage does come, if a rotation comes in, even someone like Abrams could be very much in trouble in that lane.
I see Abrams.
Take a look back at middle. The Scout up over. Looking for a potential pin target here. DMB, meanwhile, just trying to get farm. And I have to imagine that Goober is going to be roaming a little bit more aggressively soon, trying to give more of the solo lane farm to DMB. Again, you cannot have a broke Warden. You have to do everything possible to feed him at his current state of play.
Man, crazy pressure on DMB this game, right? To be, going up against your former team, trying to get that revenge victory, and to go to arguably a very off-meta character after this recent patch in the Warden. I mean, it has been historically very strong, but far from the comfort that you might feel in playing with like Wraith on her recent changes, or hell, even somebody like Infernus who has some recent buffs to kind of work with. Big burst onto League, yeah, okay. It takes in here Domini as well as Silver Slamfire, but that's just enough raw damage to even burn through the Mo, and Xeno wasting the rallying charge is pretty painful.
Yeah, it's a good gank onto the left-hand side, and now bit of a lane swap too, as Ido's gonna make his way back over into the mid lane. Bola comes out. Bola did not land, which is why that Sinclair's immediately airborne. Actually, I mean, small chance of that evolving into a kill, but in this instance was able to get away.
Billy taking some aggression now on top of Saya. Saya does not have the dome to work with, so it seems like Billy's going to get the better of this trade. And I don't know if you want to, he's getting tons of light melees off. The parry's not coming out from Do. Not reading the timing there, and nice bully from AVG. Takes full control of this side lane. Gonna secure his own sinners off that one.
Off to the side, Bola connects. Goober has to immediately clone the werewolf to get some extra HP. Gets charged for a ride. We'll see if the werewolf clone is enough to get away. Seemingly will be the case.
I mean, the cooldown on this is so low when you steal Lycan Curse. It's kind of free. Like, he's gonna have his ultimate back up basically as soon as the end of the Lycan Curse comes. So these rotations, they cost time, they cost effort. Just getting out for basically free on Goober is nice value.
Curious to see what build we're going to get out of DMB here, where one of the more controversial things, the last person playing for Floormen was Pashi on the weekend. And Pashi never put any points in the cage until the very end. Like, cage was the last priority, even on a non-spirit build. So, if you was
the meta build, right? That has historically been the meta build on Warren. And the question is, how much do you value that long duration silence? I can see it, but also this game, you do have Mo and Krill. Like, and maybe you don't necessarily need more lockdown and more catch. Like, you're just going to be shooting people that are comboed anyway. I kind of wouldn't mind a pure damage gun build here.
I think the point of contention is that the shield, if you're full gun with no spirit items, where Pashi wasn't even getting QSR in this case. So, like, going full shield, you're only getting like a 280 shield, and yeah, you got the debuff resistance, but does that compare to a instant silence?
Let's go blue.
People are thinking no, but I'm just genuinely curious to see what build comes into play here for Warden, and if there's a change.
Clearing up an easy Guardian here, uncontested by the Floormen. They just don't want to take in this kind of a fight defense, but Mo with the life up, looking for a nice combo. Good pick off, starts a fight onto John. Captivating read is there. The rest of the team following up onto this one, and should be a quick kill there onto the Venator. John delaying it a little bit longer, and the Silver's in as well, making this one a little bit more scary. However, Saya dies in the meantime with a little bit of cooldown remaining on the Frozen Shelter. Lycan Curse starting to expire. This one's looking terrible for melee creeps.
I mean, that was looking terrible when John just straight up went straight off zip and FedExed himself to Mo. Like, what in the world is going on? You didn't even need a Lash to throw you into throw a Mo into you in that case. You threw yourself into the Mo. But however, they kept the hyperline on the AVG. AVG's all sorts of hurt. Just getting pummeled. A little bit headbutts at the end. John, some quick redemption after what was a quick feed, and might even get the second kill on top of it. John ends up feasting when it's all said and done.
Yeah, there's some nice punish kills for that mid walker, which is also a big prize. Mo's going to do his best to pull people back to this left side lane, but this should be potentially a free dunk. Floormen's still hanging in the area, thinking about a contest. Maybe they're just going to try and deny a couple of these souls away, but the lion's share go to the melee creeps. virtually evening the soul lead. And once they take down this Guardian, it should be absolutely even. DMB sticking around long enough to throw a speculative flask in. Hold on, wait, an ult stolen from Kelvin? The Doman could be huge if you can get inside of this DMB. You gotta get in, but the silence is good. Ido, beautiful catch. Uber, no value in that fight.
And here's the real Dome, except no imitations. Not that the fake one ever came out. Damage right now in onto the Billy. Ido looking to rip and tear, chasing down here with the Lycan Curse. Just needs a little bit more on the AVG, who is able to get away. A little bit of evasiveness in that Billy. Gets to the safety of the Walker.
Yeah, a powerful sequence of events, though, for the melee creeps. Those punishing kills in the mid. They snowball into the side Guardian. And honestly, I think overconfidence there from Floormen, thinking that they could contest that down players. The Chaos, though, once unleashed, kind of swings back the other way. A little free Guardian pickup for the Floormen as melee creeps retreat to lick their wounds after expending a bit of their health bar. But the Guardian trades just continue across the map.
Also, we got the update. The egg is gone. Xeno devoured it, and in this case, the egg has been turned into an anvil. So, you know, the quick swap into knockdown, something we've seen before, where Xeno just usually uses it to get to a 3200 item. You know, earlier in the week, was using it for Tesla bullets on Ivy. In this case, just knockdown on Page.
Yeah, does help a lot in the team fights, right? Getting that first initial catch can make a big difference. Mo also has Warpstone. League 13k on the Mo. He's the most farmed hero. Not well, actually, is he the most farmed in the entire game? I mean, right up there with the
a little bit under John, but a very rich Mo. That's how he affords those suits.
Like, the Mo's DPS on the combo is insane. And at this kind of farm rate, you might be talking about items like Unstoppable sooner rather than later. Like, this is the hero that has been banned out all day long on the night shift. And so getting not only League on the hero, but getting some of the scaling, this hero also, I think, scales a lot better than he did in the previous patch. Silver pops a Lycan Curse. The Warpstone is good, just makes him through the wall in time. Look at that insane lockdown, but hold on. Captivating Reed doesn't stick around long enough to force it. More connections coming in. They're just bullying through the Lycan Curse. Ido, on a sliver of HP, might be able to slip out of this one.
He's still getting chased.
Nice
AVG
escape.
is hot on his trail at the moment. I think he was able to break some ankles. Ido fully gets away, but while this goes on, Melee Creeps is also able to get a walker, so Ido not falling to the Moan Crow this time around, even as he got flashbacks to a few days ago.
DMB, oh, the Warden goes down. Swap deployed, though, from Dew to get that job done. AVG looks like he was on the receiving end of that one, getting just smoked under the tower. Dew steps forward, finds the finish. Look at that bag. Saya steps in to claim it. Second walker could be on the cards. Immobilization, though, makes Kelvin think twice about this one, and this is a relatively healthy walker, the second one to defend. Melee Creeps just going to be satisfied with getting a little bit of chip damage on it. It's the best they can do.
Also, one thing we really have to keep a storyline on as we look at the game develop. On one hand, you got John at a meaty 18k on the Venator. DMB slumming it at 12k on Warden, who is more farm heavy than he has ever been to make an impact on the game. This is not where you want to be. Even though when you take a look at the level up, he is doing a change in build prow here. He's got no points in ult and likely is pretty close to getting level 3 cage.
Yeah, so it could help in some of the catches in the tempo mid game. A little bit of a contest going in for this urn. McGinnis, probably not the hero who wants to really step up to the plate on this one. The spirit buff in the contest. Billy, though, hold on. A chain could catch this, starting the fight off well. And in the small room, League finds the first kill into Ido. Hasn't even used the combo just yet. This fight shaping up very well for the Floormen. They still have some powerful tools to deploy yet. Seems like Melee Creeps just have to fall back and try to secure this one. But they are going to get urn control over to the Floormen, playing the objective game. McGinnis steps up. Maybe they're looking for some kind of a punish here. But remember, the player advantage is against them here. McGinnis, though, rips the ulti. We've seen how devastating this can be all day long. Slowing Hex as well onto AVG. Slips away for now, but the urn control is given back.
Scout over the top, looks for the pin, and Billy just barely able to dash away under the pressure. Urn control still had here by Melee Creeps, looking for what could be a quick dunk. Looking at the positioning on the map, no one from Floormen is going to be able to get there in time, so Melee Creeps going to get here and extend the lead after that next skirmish.
Yeah, some clean movement there from Saya. You're trying to just get a walker trade to get something back on the side of Floormen, but I mean, the walker relatively tanky. Dew, though, he's not going to be able to hold this alone, but with Scout coming in on the flank, Ido coming in as well. Big pin in, but it is parried, but the Billy, the damage is so real there. AVG goes down. Ido gets that first kill, and the rest of the team is healthy. League stuck around to get that finish, and you might be tanky on the Mo, but in enemy territory, I'm not sure you're that long for this world. Pin
charge towards the end. No pin into the combo.
No way, right? No way.
Well, it's so much damage. It's so much damage. He actually kills Scout. That is the power of Mo in 2026. And yeah, you may end up going down, but when you have the clean 1-on-2 and Mo still puts you down, he's like 1-on-2. No, Jake, it was a 2-on-2. You got to count both.
Silver here, maybe trying to punish on a DMB. He thought he could maybe put some pressure on McGinnis, but this is not the Warden we once knew, especially considering the farm level. Got a lot of souls in the bank. I mean, DMB really needs to get a buy off. We need to see the impact from this carry. It might not come just yet. It might be a little bit deeper into the game. But a nice big buy would certainly help things, getting some of that power out of the bank and into the field of play.
Melee Creeps working on a 10k soul lead. Interesting thing about the game state right now is Floormen actually up on walkers so far here. So they have a little bit more access to the map. It's just they don't really get the ability to use that map access when stat-wise you have to give a good amount of respect to Melee Creeps and the level of power they have at the moment. And by the way, do turning into a very scary farmed Geist. Like a 23k Geist at this point in the game is an actual problem. Arguably even more so than the Ven.
Yeah, both Geist and Venator finding the farm this game is more than you could have hoped for on the Melee Creeps, because you have other damage threats as well. Like Ido is offering real bursts in these fights. If you fish kick the McGinnis ult, can't discount that. And it's all backed up by the Kelvin Dome. So game's starting to look scary. Floormen, they need to start finding some of these Mo combos. League, though, I think is one of the key threats. Like as we just saw in that Abrams kill, he absolutely can get the job done. So you might be farmed on the carry role, but you've got to respect the threat Mo provides.
Mo's ability to just be his own source of punishment, especially when you're ahead of the game, is kind of unreal. And also even on other farmed characters, if League were to get a clean jump on the John, probably kills John, so long as John doesn't turn it into a gut shot against the wall.
He might legitimately solo kill the killers, like just the way Mo is right now. Maybe that one extra player helping with the damage is enough. Interactions in the mid, but Floormen respecting here, playing their lives. I mean, honestly, I think Melee Creeps are kind of happy to keep driving this one deeper into the late game. DMB is going to start catching up, though, on this Warden. He's going to clear up a ton of the jungle here. And League just adding on to the tankiness. He's going to start looking for some kills here. Do is not the target you want, especially in enemy territory.
Yeah, I think the one target that Mo would be a little bit afraid of on the solo combo, because if it's anything other than dead, you're just going to get swapped, and you're probably going to be dead, even with Scorn. There are limits.
Headed to Broadway.
You're just not a true Mo and Co believer. There's no limits. Anything is possible. If you can dream it, you can achieve it.
This just reminds me of Legend of Korra, where at one point the villain's just like, you think your powers are limited. I think they're limitless. Just, different, what level of Mo and Krill enlightenment have you actually hit?
A little bit of a contest shaping up on this left side jungle. Buff's about to spawn, 10 seconds. But high ground control so dominant here for the Melee Creeps. They have full vision in this fight. Feels like a dangerous game to try to contest this buff. And they give the gun buff over to the Venator. So an ideal situation for John should a fight break out. Urn is coming down. Billy grabs the life buff. Waves are crashing against Melee Creeps. So the macro stage of the game is actually favoring the Floormen here. A stolen McGinnis ult from Goober provides cover for Mo under the burrow to maybe get in and take their... Oh, and the Melees just barely miss. I can't believe that. Daylight robbery here by Mo and Krill.
Still an even deeper dive here by Melee Creeps.
DMB's in. Oh, I don't know about this one.
And Lycan Curse is also at the same time. Billy with the chain gang. Do picks up one here so far. Billy running back. KVG, a little bit of disruption, and now desperately needs to get away.
This is enemy territory,
it's turning into a silly fight. Look at the Urn, by the way. The Urn is going to get dunked in, but Mo and Krill also is in this fight, and he's your strongest player.
Yeah, just some crossed wires there from Floormen. Going for the Urn and then also taking the fight at the same time. And you might get the Urn dunk, but those kills mean mid-boss are a possibility. Ido's thinking about it, though. I don't think he's so sure about the call. But with Duke coming in, they're going to commit the McGinnis heal, amping up everyone's DPS. Kelvin Dome as well on the cards. Maybe you can just full send it. The beautiful disarm from Mo is going to kind of slow down this mid-boss take. And harassment as well from Mina. I expect the fight to come in here. But with Dome, it's so hard to play into.
Oh, heavy melee breaking McGinnis wall. New technique says 15 HP. DMB barely gets away. If Floormen don't pay anything for this contest, that would be wild. Teleport comes in towards the end. However, on the chase down, take a look at Idocam right now. Just takes Goober's face right off. A little bit of revenge for last game.
To your point earlier in the draft, CP, things got serious. By the way, wait, Shrine? There's a Giga Wave taking the Shrine right now.
Oh, dear
It's just lost half its HP. Like, that is way too scary. Okay, I mean, they're not going to really lose anything for it, but goes to show, man, you got to respect the minions.
Minions off doing a little winning towards the end. Also, there's nothing we can do about the sound bug because observers cannot leave and reconnect in the same way that players can. I don't even think observers can do their own pause. I may be wrong, but there's a few limitations from the observer end when you get sound bugged. Also, AVG perhaps under the gun. Not anymore. Able to safely back away as Floormen now concede quite a bit of the map to melee creeps.
Your spirit will be void.
Still reasonably close on the overall farm, though, of the game.
Yeah, the game feels scary. I mean, soul advantage is pretty minimal. So, like, pound for pound, the fighting strength is there for the Floormen. If they can just find a Mo combo to kind of get an opening pick, but with the rejuves, you got to do it kind of 2 times back to back, and that feels much more unlikely. Ido's the one showing on waves 2, and I think he's probably one of the hardest targets. If he turns into that Lycan form, you are not getting the kill. So wisely, Floormen choose to wait for a better opportunity.
I still think the soul allocation is a little bit scuffed for Floormen also, where if you pick Mo and Krill and then you make Mo and Krill one of your big soul targets and you grab the Mina, like, I don't know, this is a pretty broke Warden, and a broke Warden is not a scary Warden who gets stuck into the dome.
It's his dome. It's his dome.
Stolen dome. Stolen dome. Enough to save.
He doesn't want to step up, though. I mean, that's telling. You don't want to turn that corner into Abrams. They're going to try and make this Walker defense. Abrams, though, coming over the top, wants to send it in for the team fight. Gets a stun on Mo and Krill, pins the Mo, but that's a very hard target. Scout is in very deep, likely to get trapped. Nope, but the counterspell protects him from it for now. He's willing to throw away one of those rejuves. The McGinnis ult, the heavy barrage, secures this Walker take. Well played by the Floormen, though. They tax a lot of HP and resources, making sure that it's far from a free grab for the for melee creeps.
Also, talk about incredibly scary stuff from Scout. Charging the Mo at half HP when the Mo still has combo. There's some faith in your team there. I think there was a world where League could have just dropped combo, gotten the kill. Probably would have died in the process, though, which is why he didn't do it.
And at this point, with 3 rejuves available, taking 1 away doesn't mean much. At this point, you really are going to play for the timeout. Silver steps up, big bowl onto 2, looks forward, the Lycan Curse should be popped. It's going to give a lot of cover to the rest of the team as they look to siege this Walker. Still about a minute left on the rejuves. Floormen, big rallying charge, though, into the team fight. Maybe going deep behind the Walker could be a little bit risky. I believe that's 2 domes. One stolen by Goober, the other the original. And Ido isn't really bringing the damage. Hold on, this fight is starting to look good for the Floormen. They're still healthy. The rejuves have started to go against them. Big slam fire onto DMB, but he's standing tall now under the Walker. The combo is good enough to take down Do. DMB, though, can he get out of this one? It seems like he can.
While this is going on, the Walker,
and it's good value in the end for the Floormen. Like, they get a lot of spells out, and they don't drop a single player.
Given how that started and given the conditions, that's about as good as Floormen can expect there. Yeah, they're not able to defend the Walker, but they get some rejuves out. They don't lose anyone in the process. The lead is not ballooned to the point that Floormen cannot contest over this rejuve, which is about the most you can hope for when the other team gets 3 rejuves. While Floormen are down, they still have win conditions in this game. And I think the kind of the sad part about all this is that they were just on the verge of this being a comebacker, and they were too close, Jake.
Yeah, right. The fight keeps it in contention. But honestly, I think this might be an earn you might consider fighting. And I think melee creeps recognize that too. They're not going to try and rush send this in. Despite like the soul advantage and like the last few fights being good for the melee creeps, you look at the map, kind of Floormen in control. Yes, they're down a Walker, but the lanes are pushed against melee creeps. They need to fix those before they look to do anything too aggressive on the map.
Floormen would love to make something happen here with the Mo and Krill, the one most forward When you look at the minimap, one maybe about to get a grab, goes for the burrow, stuck in the vent trap, actually hurting a lot of the mobility. DMB able to finish off Saya. The heavy barrage coming on out. McGinnis gets to work. DMB is down. The barrage is still a blasting, even as Nux Nostra rains down from above. Rocker trying to make something happen here. Ido, meanwhile, gets into the back, deals with Leak, and the barrage is still going, Jake. Finally lets loose, but the damage has certainly been done.
It's a 3v4, but Floormen still fighting this one. Xeno beautifully kiting here away from Ido's transform. Dude, though, could be the strongest player left alive into this one, and he feels that damage pumping into Goober. He's got to run for the hills, but just cannot get away from the Geist into this one.
Up to the air we go. Seismic Slam. Not quite onto the jump pad, but still chasing down the midair charge connection. Left hook hits. Rocker taken down by the anti-air Abrams just to finish things off. Mid-boss still not up for a minute, but Floormen in a world of hurt as the lead balloons for the melee creeps.
It looked like a good start to the fight, right? You lost DMB, but you took down John and Saya. In theory, that's a worthy trade. Ultimately, though, it's a beautiful cleanup work from Fishcake and Ido. Scout and Duke coming in as well. There's just so many threats on this team. You might think you started off by killing the carry, but there's a lot of carries at this point in the game for the melee creeps. A lot of, backups on backups.
Melee creeps on the verge of defending their title yet again, where, again, their streak was never broken in Night Shift. They did suffer a loss to BWC on the weekend, and, perhaps served a little bit as a wake-up call for them to get things in order for tonight.
So far, so good. I mean, this is their game to lose with a significant soul advantage. DMB has gotten to that Glass Cannon Vamp Burst moment, though, where, okay, yes, you might have been nerfed a bit on Warden, but any character in the game with Vamp Burst Glass Cannon is going to be able to bring some heat. Mid-boss spawning now. Likely going to decide the outcome of this game, or at least force the fight that does so.
Floormen, who have had such a good run here today, not only winning map 2, but coming dangerously close to getting map 1. Now find themselves down, but not entirely out here in map 3. One of the longest days of Deadlock we've had so far. It's not an impossible lead to come back from, but it is limited on the options. And I think the thing that's really hurting them the most here, Jake, is that in terms of carry ability, they threw a lot of eggs into the Mo basket, and, does a 33k Warden scare many people on melee creeps right now? And I think the answer to that is probably no.
I feel like the Mo is still scaring them, though, despite the lead. I mean, look, the way melee creeps are positioned on the map. They're very conservative. They recognize if you split up on the side lanes, Mo has historically been the hero that really punishes that kind of a move. Now, melee creeps, though, they're stepping up as a full unit. They want to force some kind of a major team fight here, denying Mo some of the value of the combo by playing together. Big chase in here from Scout, going very deep. Mo, Burrow, getting some shields, getting some stability. The silence waves are in. Ido now swarming over on top. Floormen kiting back well, though, staying healthy into this one. Players are coming back in to assist on this. The counterspell blocks that Warden trap from connecting. John pops the Iridomini, but Floormen, I think they've kited this engagement well. There might be a chance for a punish here, and the waves starting to crash against the melee creeps objectives.
Also, Floormen didn't have to use any ults, and that every ult still up and available for Floormen.
Defend the stronghold.
Iridomini down, which is not insignificant. And yeah, comeback urn is available. This is not the worst for Floormen. You get this comeback urn, the gap between the two teams gets very, very small, and I mean, they could theoretically win a fight in their own comeback urn territory. It is not guaranteed for melee creeps, so...
I mean, the textbook play, though, is for melee creeps to force a mid-boss while you hold this urn, and I think they might go for just that. They still have that Kelvin Dome online. They're in full control of the area around mid, controlling that zip. Got to be very worried about this, going for the dunk. Billy also pressuring the side walker at the same time, maybe taking a 1v1, and here we go. Melee creeps are going to send it on to the mid-boss, at least forcing the roar. Page continuing to move forward and try and get this dunk in. ABG on the Billy backing away, and this could turn into full chaos, man. Objective split across the map. Paige far away, but can she make it back in time to get the rallying charge for this dunk?
Billy right now has been fighting Geist outside, and Billy's not going to get here in time. Dome dropped. He's looking for a little bit of control here. Melee creeps would love to get all rejuve charges. Mo, though, is in the pit. Mo is fighting, waiting for the drop. Continues to fight. He's able to get the first one. League with the first rejuve. The next two go the way of melee creeps. Melee creeps. Looking hold serve. They get the rejuve out of League. They immediately take him down for a second time. Floormen end up losing two. Only steal one rejuve when the smoke is settled.
Oh, Goober in trouble now. Has to juke his way out of this one. Would be a crucial hero to stay alive. McGinnis keeping an eye on the swap position, and he can't quite make it out in time. On the plus side, there's a wave hard crashing on the melee creep space, but with 3 players dead, there's a real opening to take shrines, and it feels like that's the beginning of the end for the Floormen. The power of forcing those team fights, you know, you got to go for the comeback on Floormen, but at the same time, giving up mid boss is an expensive price to pay. And this is looking like a patron drop, man. 220k souls. It just, these objectives drop fast.
Floormen running out of time and options. A little bit of a jump pad stun on the Saya, but none too worse for the wearer so far. Second shrine about to go down. Melee creeps close to defending the throne. First stage patron not going to look all that much more durable relative to the shrines, but Floormen about to get more people back up. We'll see if melee creeps just backs up a little bit.
They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to get the drop without giving up any kind of a kill. They are going to get that drop. We'll see if the punish can come in. Floormen taking a lot of poke on quite a few players here. Geist full sending it onto this Mina. Just an aggro dive into the base. Hold on, and maybe, just maybe, Rocker has overplayed his hand, but the rescue beam is beautiful. League, though, is gone. Mo is down for 70 on the deck. Still 2 regions to play with. Melee creeps. Surely they're going to close this one out here and now. A dome from Kelvin? Actually, I believe this is the... Actually, I'm not sure. I think maybe one of them used a refresher. But the dome, yeah, it is from the Kelvin here, and he's continuing to dominate. A stolen dome, this time from Goober. But it just doesn't seem like enough. Do the unstoppable force here. Fighting inside of the throne. The invuln is something the curse kind of helps, but Do is just not taking damage. And at the end of the day, players dropping. It is all melee creeps in the feed here. And they are going to defend their title, but they had to work for it today, ZP.
They have never been tested quite like this in Night Shift, but in this instance, melee creeps get the victory in 3, capping off the longest day of Deadlock we have had since November. But melee creeps, the streak continues. At least the Night Shift streak does at the very minimum.
Big win for the melee creeps. I'm sure that's going to mean a lot to them, right? After taking an L on another tournament, it's, you know, that's always a scary moment for a team that's been nonstop winning. Is you're just so used to winning, you forget almost that there's another possibility of the way these games can go. But to be reminded of that and then to be able to reassert your dominance here in the Night Shift, it's going to be a load off their mind, alleviate any questions people might have about this team.
You know, I realize as the night goes on and the broadcast hits nearly 10 hours, or I don't know if it's quite at that long, but either way, you know, you start making some slips of the tongue as, you know, chat recognized. But man, what a game in terms of how this went down. I mean, this was still pretty contestable by Floormen for a long time. I do still think they got a little bit kneecapped by the draft. Like, between the two teams, you look at the draft, I just don't think, especially with things like M1, that Venator v Warden is a particularly fair head-to-head. I think Ido has a unique advantage by still being one of the people that can make Silver look good. And you gotta give props to Fishcake, where if the plan to run McGinnis wasn't the plan at the beginning of the day, it became the plan by the end of the day, and Fishcake still made it look good. Where if they didn't pick it, Jake, it would have gone to League. Like, it would have been picked by the Floormen no matter what. So, really good heads-up adaptation by Melee Creeps. I think it was probably necessary in this series.
Yeah, they've always been a team that is so solid in the draft. Got to give a shout out to Scout too. Some insane catches on the Abrams this game. Beautiful plays around the Mo. I mean, Mo's been insanely dominant all day. I think Melee Creeps are the one team that's been able to beat it. So you got to give them their flowers for that one. But I think you're right, man. DMB was just not playing with a full deck right on the Warden. It's you know, the nerfs hit really hard on Warden, and with some of the other carries looking as strong as ever, maybe better than ever, he does feel like just a few steps behind.
Also, it was kind of a hungry team when you look at where the current Mo is so strong. You want Mo to have a lot of farm. You want Mina to have a lot of farm. You don't really want your Billy to be broke. So as a Warden, I think he was also just kind of fighting for a lot of the farm allocation. But getting a look at the end stats, definitely passes the eye test. There are moments where Do was just simply unchained with the dives on Geist.
Yeah, huge games from Do across the series. I mean, 11-0 and 9. He's so stable, right? Whether it's the Geist, the Yamato, he's able to play these different sort of styles of character, but giving like a really solid backup to John. And in this game, arguably stepping up to be the true carry, right? Geist is a bigger threat in the ultra late game, significantly more damage than anyone else in this game. And so huge credit to Do overall through the series, right? Even in the last game where they did take the L, he still looked competitive, right? So I think Do had a great game today, a great series today across the board. And the DMB Revenge arc has to wait. I still want to see more though, because I still feel these two teams have unfinished business after today.
You know what I would have liked now that I think about it? Because AVG was teasing, oh, we got a secret weapon. I would have loved to have seen DMB bring out the Infernus, because I do wonder if teams are still sleeping on Infernus. He got a bunch of buffs, and he hasn't really been seen here so far.
I was thinking that same thing, ZP. Like, maybe an Infernus could have been nice here. You know, maybe that burn could be a problem on Geist, right? Taking her out, giving her something to worry about. The reduced spirit damage could help against some of these heroes, but I just feel like the Warden is a more stable pick. But in hindsight, I think they probably would have wished, hey, maybe we went for the Wraith, maybe we went for the Infernus in this spot in the draft.
Man, I'm just thinking about potential MVP candidates right now, and we'll see what the official decision is. But, you know, maybe this is always a pre-hype here, but a lot of people wondered, okay, was getting Do on the melee creeps the right decision? This is probably the best day of play that Do has had for melee creeps since joining the roster, in my estimation.
Yeah, I agree. I think he was the linchpin to their success in both of the games they won here in the money match today. The Yamato particularly impressive. I think a little bit of a flashier character, but the stability to have 0 deaths. I mean, I did not realize he was deathless this game. This is like a remarkably stable performance on the Geist in a game that was far from stable. This was full chaos, lots of scrappy team fights with tons of players dropping on both sides. And yet Do just finds that middle road to do maximum damage and yet get out with his life every time things go bad. So really well executed by him, and pretty compelling performance for them to hold on to the title. Although it's clear, I think, in both regions, we'll need to do more. But of course, the player of the match, the Fiki Egg.
Yeah, it's the egg. Even though Do didn't even grab the egg, because you see, guys, do you know it's Do? It's the egg. It is all the egg buyers, all the egg enjoyers, and there you go. There's Do for real. But also just note, it's a sub MVP relative to the glory of the egg.
Glory to the egg. Do's the GOAT, though. Let's check out some of the highlights, see what he's able to put on. The Yam snowballed this game early. And what a crazy day of Deadlock. Like, I don't think I've ever watched this much Deadlock back to back to back in my life yet. This game is too stimulating, man.
It was a ridiculous game. I mean, to see everything as it transpired. I mean, we had plays under plays, especially, I mean, map 1 and map 2 just had so many good moments. Both the comeback by melee creeps in map 1, Floormen, and everything to do with Goober on map 2. I mean, Goober basically earned himself the permaban on Viscous for the next 3 months after that. Like, no one forgets what happens when you let Goober get Viscous. Not after this last map. Just, he's not going to get to play that hero, Jake.
Yeah, right. It feels like you have to, but that does net an advantage, I think, for the Floormen, right? To an off-meta hero like Viscous, that, I mean, is this the only time it got played today? Yeah, I got banned a couple times against Floormen, but in the end, like, you know, to get these respect bans out, it gives you an advantage in the draft, right? It's kind of like you were saying with the Ido Silver, like other teams might prio it lower, but you have to respect it against his potential. And overall, quite a balanced day as far as the picks go. Like, lots of heroes getting their opportunity to shine. Even some of these heroes that weren't picked as often, like Geist or Great Talon, when they did come out, they had big games. So, and a very interesting moment in the meta with things completely shaken up by the draft. McGinnis having her best day ever. I'm pretty confident saying that without actually seeing the data.
Tell someone last week that McGinnis would have higher priority than Celeste. That's why no one would believe you. Absolutely no one would believe you if you said that statement. Shiv basically, you know, having a very short period of being dead and then is instantly back to being near the top. Although the Mo and Krill dominance, Mo has never seen a day as good as today. Ever.
Mo and Viscous and McGinnis enjoyers rejoicing in this patch. It's definitely a new era in Deadlock. I'm curious to see, of course, lots of tweaks coming out every day now, so I won't expect anything to be too stable for too long. I think might have some more looks at something like the McGinnis ulti. I think it's a little suspect right now, considering you can just hard full build for the ulti, and it is still incredibly powerful. But we'll have to see. I mean, the Deadlock devs, I'm enjoying whatever they're cooking. I leave it up to them to decide the direction of the game.
Yep, and just to review what we saw here today, take a look back at the schedule. What a day it was. A very long day, which is why we were going to do Graveyard Shift at the other show today. We will fit it in later in the week, since hopefully there won't be any patch stuff to do. No,
I'm dying.
Yeah, as is production. Also, interview-wise, we're not going to subject the players because it was a long day. I mean, look, just imagine we got Ido here in the interview, and he said, I hate mowing Krill around 8 times. And also that damn ball too, like a Scooby-Doo villain who actually won, and that'd basically be the interview tonight, Jake.
I totally agree with that. That's like he would probably endorse that as like as an effective supplemental interview there. So much love, of course, to the whole community. Tons of donations, tons of subs to get the prize pool up so high. Huge support from all of you. It makes a huge difference. Our patrons making a massive difference to just keep the lights on, keep us running this show week in, week out. Also, of course, all of you in the chat. I mean, whether you just tune in to watch every day, the folks co-streaming at home. I mean, it just goes like miles and miles into making this show what it is. Like, we kind of came out of nothing to bring the night shift to life, and it's only still here, still standing so tall today because of the passion and the faith of the Deadlock community.
It was a great time to be a Deadlock fan. The games have never been better. Honestly, the game, I think, is in a good state. Yeah, some people are complaining over balance. Some of the stuff got tuned up, tuned down. The design, though, has been really fun. And even looking at the pick ban chart, that was one of the healthiest pick ban priorities we have seen in a while in regards to just the mix of heroes, how they were picked. I mean, a wide difference relative to simply a week ago. But, Jake, I think this brings us to the end of the show. You got any final words before we send things off for the night?
Just thank you and good night. Great to see everybody. An insane day of Deadlock games. Some of the best action, some of the most competitive series we've seen in a long time. And I just hope more to come, man. I hope this is that new era of top competition among the elite teams in both regions. That's an exciting time for us here on the Night Shift.
Alrighty, well, that's us all. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. All the players, of course, the patrons, the subs, the viewers as a whole. You all make this happen, and we'll see you next time.